Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to Tomes and Tales RPG, Intonatia's Mystery. School is back in session, everybody, as we return a day later after our fabulous faculty began the investigation into the murder of student Shane Davison, or the accidental death. We don't know yet. Everyone's pointing eyes and fingers at different places. The following day after the body was found, or revealed rather, to the teachers, our teachers moved into the woods outside the school walls and located a giant snake that seemed to be the same beast that was spotted by groundskeeper Michelson. Believing that they killed that has killed Shane, the investigation now turns into why and how this giant snake was there to begin with. But we'll hopefully reveal more of that as we get into today's episode of Kids on Brooms.
Tomes and Tales RPG presents Intonatia's Mystery. Powered by Kids on Brooms.
Part 3. Citing Sources.
And welcome back. Cut shapes. So we return to Lady Intonatia's the following morning. After the day's lessons following the fight with the giant, now normal-sized snake, we moved into the teachers' common room, connected to your private quarters, the large round table, scattered with a small smattering of mugs, inkwells, quills, all that nifty stuff that you teachers are kind of free to just let lounge around because it's semi your office and semi your living space. The fire in the hearth is enchanted to always be burning. Currently, crackles at a low flame. Who would be the first to wake up, you reckon?
Definitely not me.
Definitely not you?
Definitely not Amos.
Yes.
Sure,
Madam Nightshift?
yes.
Begrudgingly so?
Yeah.
I feel like we made a joke about it last episode, but I feel like Evalyn walks in, goes face first, and then rolls immediately out of there. And it's just like that ridiculous game where you play the deer that rolls like really sporadically. I feel like that's how Evalyn gets out of bed after a night shift, like, and you're up and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So run us through it. How does that feel? How does that feel, Evalyn?
How could this happen to me?
These teachers' wages don't pay shit!
Should just probably not really, just get ready for the day, have a quick shower, and not even do that. Just basically abracadabra and make herself smell good, you know? Like
Grabs a wand and it just goes.
Oh man! And you never have to recharge the aerosol. How good!
Never have to purchase deodorant.
The funny thing with magic is they can't create it out of thin air. So you know, there's just some guy in England where he's just like, what? And his can's empty all of a sudden, and he bought it yesterday.
It's like, if I don't have to buy it.
It's like the Fairly Odd Parents rules. They can't make stuff out of thin air. They've got to steal it from somebody.
I'm stealing it.
Oh my god.
We just like standing beside each other in class and Evelyn's just like looks over and goes, bitch, you stink.
Wow. Holy dooly. Okay, so Evalyn, I would say Evalyn being the first to wake up implies that you actually went to sleep. So Evalyn just is the first one that walks out the door,
Yeah.
I would think. So like when you walk into the main common room, because obviously there's like a kitchenette in there and the big table and the fireplace and all that sort of stuff, your little Switch docks there with the Nintendo Switch in it, all the tables and chairs. So feel free to what you think Evalyn would interject with, what you think Evalyn would do for the day and all that, or for the morning rather, before school starts, all that good stuff.
I think the routine would be immediately coffee and then prep work for the class for the day. Sort of like sit down, have some little like, oh, maybe this will be a good subject for the kids to learn about today sort of thing. And basically prep so then they don't have to do it later. It's just done.
This is done, yeah, good call.
And then on the Switch until it's time to go.
Yeah.
Right on the bell is when she turns that switch off.
I bought a carry case for a reason and put it in the bag. I love that. Okay, who'd be next?
Yeah.
Ernest would probably be the type to grab a coffee, but then he'd dip to go and make sure none of his plants had tried to eat each other overnight.
That's fair. They do get left. I think when Ernest goes to make coffee, like you're very tired because the last 2 days have been insane. So in your bit of your stupor, you go to grab like the decaf mix, and you just hear, "Not that one." and then you grab the right one. And, yeah, Eddie. I'm a barista now.
It's Ernie.
Ernie.
Not Eddie. Ernie.
So good. So you go to grab the coffee, you go, "Not that one."
Yeah.
You grab the cream one. Yes. You make the coffee, and I think Evalyn would be on the big couch, like on the switch, and you just hear the. And his little feet just walk out the fucking door. Because it is true, if you leave the place, especially in that transitional period between like summer to winter, like at the end of the year, they will fucking go rampant because they're indoors. So you do need to maintain control of those bad boys. I would say early in that morning, well, by the time you get to the class, you definitely see that some of like the creeping vines have ever so slowly, they've started to get their way into the fucking desks of the students. So there's some that are like trying to crawl their way up. So what would Ernest do to regulate his office? I think next to Amos's, yours is probably like the second dangerous in the building.
Yeah. Correction, it is the most dangerous unless Amos is in their classroom. However, because these ones are like the vine-like ones, I've referred to them as spear ivy, which is a cross between poison ivy and spearmint.
Oh. How nice.
Refreshing.
And
Colgate.
plus, the other day, someone had gone through his cupboard and stolen his mint, so he's trimming it all back, hanging some up to start drying out so he can replace the shit that was taken. But of note, he has taken extra notice of that, and he's all like, "You fuck. I'll stop fertilizing you." He whispers to the vine that's getting a bit unruly specifically, just like, "I'll stop fertilizing you if you keep doing that."
There's a very audible. As it quivers in fear, very much like Wolf Castle's muscles from The Simpsons. Well, what's coconut oil?
But aside from that, it's like general maintenance, feeding mice to the carnivorous ones, bugs to the smaller carnivorous ones.
Not snare.
No, of course not. Snack's children, how do you think we keep them in order? Snack's children, not snack. Snack.
Could you imagine
Sorry.
there's just like a book where it's like snack the like 13th of the because of the amount of times you have fed snack to one and then you go, oh.
Oops.
There's a reason he sounds like a telenovela now.
Yeah.
He seems weird.
Generations of trauma in this one mouse.
You would
Because
believe
I just
what
keep
my
the
forefathers
rest
have
of
been
his
through.
family to feed to carnivorous.
Horrific.
Yeah, it cuts into Snack's mind, and you're like, "The things that I have seen, no man should witness." And he like, "Where the fuck did you get a cigarette from?" And he's gone. But no, absolutely. So
Not my great-great-grandchild. Fifth removed.
Come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding
and you asked me to kill him, man.
to feed him to the plants.
We love that. So your morning is a lot of actual prep. So
like genuinely,
Yeah.
he's got to keep these things alive so they don't eat the children instead.
Absolutely. All right, the next two. Who'd be next? We reckon.
I think Reggie would probably be the latest, I reckon.
I definitely think he
Yeah.
would. I think he wakes up to the school bell like.
Yeah.
Whoa! There's a reason why everyone else says 9:15 and his says 9:30. They offer him the extra 15 minutes.
He gets dressed in his like day clothes at night.
At
and
the
he
night
sleeps in
before.
them,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he can just get
Oh,
up and
you're one of
go.
those college bros that thinks he's figured it out. How dare you?
It saves me so much time.
There'd definitely be like if there was thin walls, like whoever like is next to like Amos, like you know dorm wise or whatnot. Every morning they just hear a 5 minutes later, and Another 5 is like,
It's a little automated bird.
Yeah.
Like it's a little robotic. It's like a little steampunky bird that just like opens its mouth and squawks. It just gets to the point where there's very obvious crinkles in the neck where you just keep slapping the fuck out of it.
And then it probably wouldn't be like too long before the bell, but there'd just be like silence and then a door like whooshing open, very frantic steps, and I'm late, and like you see her like going to run through the common room. You can see her go to attempt to teleport before she hits the door. She doesn't teleport far, like she doesn't do it fast enough. Slams against the door. All the like black smoke like shakes off of her, and then she just goes, oh, and then she'll like open up the door and walk to her class instead.
That one would definitely draw your attention, I think. So they're playing Animal Crossing, you just hear a yeah, where you have that moment where you're like, oh, I pray that no one saw it, and you turn it, it's just Evelyn's eyes over a Nintendo Switch.
It's 7-0.
Blindness!
She like, after she look over and she'd like go, she leaves.
There's a Mexican standoff in the common room with like wah, 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 with like the wands in a holster. Like
She goes,
who's
like,
gonna
cast
be?
a forgetfulness spell that goes, better not.
Hang on here.
Then goes to her class the normal way by walking.
Absolutely. And we'll go with our stoner. What's happened here?
I reckon Reggie wakes up not in a room. It's like somewhere out in the yard, like tucked into a corner somewhere where he's clearly passed out the night before after a little bit of a bender.
Wow.
He saw some shit the night before, he got wasted, and he's gone for a wander, and he's just fallen asleep where he fell.
Hard cut to Reggie drinking alone in his room and then just throwing himself out the tower window, summoning his broom to catch him, and then you nosedive into a shrub.
Yeah.
And you remained in the shrub.
So and just makes his way towards the demountable classroom as I imagine he woke up to the sound of the school bell.
Absolutely. Because obviously you've got the demountable with like the paddock that's attached to it, like the kind of like the Wrangler's paddock. So that weird like cosmic deer that you were speaking to last episode. My sire! Another night on the beverages I see. By golly, he had a rough one.
Just makes his way into the classroom and like closes all the blinds. And then we just pan outside and you sort of hear that.
Oh, this. I don't know what everyone else's school life was like, but this is pretty accurate. Okay, so going through classes, we're going to kind of proceed in a bit of a different order here. I'll change the music a bit, I think. Okay, here. There we go. We'll start with Ernest first. So your first class of the day goes about 9:15. The class that you've got today is lower. The first one's lower grade, so always the younger kids first, and that's kind of like a courtesy that the school does for this particular class. So the older grade kids can like sleep in a little bit because they don't want to be handling sharp implements that early in the fucking morning. But the young kids are fucking wide for it, so it's very different. What we have here is harvesting night blooms. So do you want to walk through how that goes for Ernest? Because it all starts with you specifically.
Right. So these are those pesky goddamn weeds that grow all over the... I need a name for this sport that isn't Quidditch. Thank you.
It's just rugby.
But it's not!
But they're in England. They love rugby.
So unmagical.
Yeah!
I don't know, man. They enchant their helmets to like headbutt people and they fucking launch them. Like, what do you want from me? It's kind of like think Blood Bowl from Warhammer, but like way funnier.
Blood Bowl.
Blood Ball, there we go.
Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl.
Someone
Or the Blood Bowl
someone
pitch.
has to die. It's just the rules, and they get revived. If you kill another player, you win. Continue.
They just exist all over the Blood Bowl ? Pitch. Now these little bastards. And he pulls out one that he's pulled out of the fucking... It's still got grass and dirt.
Almost.
There's a hole in the middle of the field that he's left for the groundskeeper. Fucking what's his name?
Groundskeeper Michelson.
Yeah, Michelson.
Yeah, he finally walks up and he's got a cigarette. He's like, "Damn you, Ernest!"
This happens often.
There's a cover where you can see the patches of green are like slightly lighter than the others, where he's patched intermittent holes.
And he's presented this little, because it was sorry, give me the name again, just so I'm remembering it correctly.
The plant.
No, the name of the plant that you gave me before.
Yeah, night blooms.
Night bloom. That's
Oh,
right.
thorned night blooms. Sorry.
Yeah, because I keep saying, I'm not a fucking fairy all of the time. They're not night howlers.
Brother, avenge me!
I'm trying. Cut.
A bit of pep.
God save my soul.
Ain't nothing can save you now, brother.
I'm gonna keep calling them night howlers. Forgive me, Zootopia made a big impression in my brain. Thorned.
Night bloom, night bloom, night bloom, night bloom.
Yeah,
Night
night
blooms.
They
He's called night
bloom
bloom.
at night.
So many other things do though. Anyway. He's presented this little weed and he starts going about the fundamentals of pulling apart the roots in order to harvest that very specific piece that won't kill you if you consume it or touch it barehanded. Everyone's got gloves on, they've got safety glasses on, they've got everything happening because this is a very highly toxic plant. Why is he getting children to handle it? It's Ernest.
Child labour.
It's probably the least vicious thing in this whole classroom. But he's going through the properties of how, from the main stem of roots, a specific fraction where the roots disband into almost like they're branching off. Just where the connection is the only safe part to be harvested. That is why there are so many precautions about it. And he's just going through it nice and slowly because this is a young class. So he's being very mindful, very cautious. He's even removed any of the blooms or buds to prevent from any accidental inhalation. Fucking pollen in the eyes. Fucking hay fever.
Stop making the damn thing.
He's gone out of his way. But there is the one on his desk that is normal, sitting lopsided on this pile of dirt. Yeah, it's just kind of...
Chucking a lean.
Yeah.
No, I love that. While you're going through, so thankfully, a lot of the younger students, as you've all had to deal with, a lot of the younger students are way more wired, and they
Actually fucking
they
listen.
actually listen, right? So they're at the point where they're like, well, this is amazing. So thankfully, when you're going through the motions, they're all hanging on to every word. So thankfully, there's going to be no rolls to make sure no one doesn't fucking die. However, as you're kind of letting them go through the motions and you're like, okay, I can leave them to their devices a little bit and I'll just watch them. You can't help but notice that still on the top of your desk is the detention slip for Roderick, which will be tonight.
Fuck.
So at some point tonight, you'll have to go take care of the detention.
Yeah, he looks at it. Fuck.
And in
Not my problem.
the deepest recesses of your brain, you just hear a, yes! He's like so excited. Is there anything else that would tailor into the end of the class before we move over to the other faculty?
Proper disposal. How to properly dispose of poisonous and toxic plants in a safe environment.
Reggie would say burn them.
Not in this classroom, because the ashes are just as fucking toxic. Therefore, the only way to purely manage these is to yeet them out the window and leave them.
The groundskeeper Michelson. all right, children, throw them down the chute, and it's just a bucket with the hole cut out in the window. Like we hard cut to one of the towers outside. There's like bits of busted plant fall out.
I hate my job.
Nice!
Ah, my doctor told me I'm not supposed to get thorn night bloom in it. I mean, I'll allow it. This is a public wizard school.
Yes.
I'll allow it. Wonderful. We love that. Next, we'll go into Evelyn's class next, because Evalyn, when you harvest all, and you obviously have to clear every time your students go through this motion, you have to make sure that like they are applicable enough to keep. And a lot of these, you'll segment some off for yourself, and then you'll package another one, give it to one of like the students, like the hall models and stuff, and they'll take it to Evalyn, because Evalyn can obviously distill a lot of these plants in her potions class. So we'll go to yours next. So your body is still screaming at you after pulling double park night, like double duties, night shift and day shift. And yeah, one of the students will walk up with the box of like all those, I can't remember the name of the part of the plant you explicitly said it was, but they walk up with a bunch of that for you as
Jarred and sealed, just in case.
It was the root, wasn't it?
So, yes, it'd be, think of like the main stem of your root for the plant would be here. It'd be this section where they two split. So it's these little like
A
L
bud.
boot
You know,
shapes.
sometimes where you pull plants out and they've got almost like little modules along roots.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing.
So it's a very key part, like a very specific part of this plant.
Okay.
Specifically where two roots would split off and become, like one would become two.
Yeah.
Those bits. Because
But-
what you're referring to is what I was describing with they're called non-Nash, they're the biting fucking Venus flytrap bastards that were really angry. They had those little potato things.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what you're,
So yeah, you get whatever that is.
Yeah.
And what? Obviously, you've still got the snake and the formaldehyde in your desk. But what would your lesson? How would you go about your lesson today? Now that you've got your ingredients for the day and all that sort of stuff.
So this would basically be one of the rare lessons where Evalyn actually has her desk cleared and actually has a cauldron in the middle. Because she knows how dangerous this type of plan is, and you know she doesn't want to fuck around and find out and accidentally kill one of the students.
Again.
Yeah.
I tried to do that with you.
So she'll basically, with these little, I'm going to call them like the crossroads of the roots. So
Yeah.
she'll call them crossroads. Because that's probably the closest thing that I could think of that you were describing.
yeah.
And she would just be basically teaching the students a night vision potion and how to create something like that. So the way that she'd go about it is these ones were like weeks ago they were harvested and they've been dried out to basically be put in a little baggie that is like drip distilled into like a tea. And I feel like the tea would kind of be like a watery black, like when you put black food dye into water, that's what it looks like.
Hell yeah.
And it's got a little bit of like gooey like brown in it too, but basically you'd drink that potion and you'd be able to see at night, and should be going through that process with one of those like drip things and everything like that. And there's 2 stages of it. Like the first one, it goes straight into like boiled water, and then from the boiled water it goes down through a purifier, which then goes into the jar that's drinkable.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So the thorn and night blooms kind of have, because they're a plant that is reactionary to like lunar light and not UV light from like the sun. When you've distilled it, it kind of like triggers a weird alchemical response in like the eyes of people that drink it to be able to intake more dim light,
Yeah.
and thus the night vision works.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really applicable thing, especially like in like the wizarding world, you know, especially when there are wizard night watchmen and there are, you know, police officers for the wizards and witches and all that sort of stuff. So there's a multitude of uses. So it's definitely something that the kids are actually get a kick out of learning how to make it for sure.
She would also have the actual flower part of it too, also dried as well, because that's the best way to basically harvest and get the most out of a plant is making sure that it's dried and then basically hydrating it.
Mm-hmm.
But with the dry stuff, you can turn that into powder as well. And that powder from the flower, she wouldn't really she'd basically, with the flower, should be like this, don't touch. Unless you want to make someone blind, don't touch it. And with the flower, you can basically also create a blindness potion sort of thing.
Cool.
So it's like there's still that vision within the plant.
What did we say? What was it? Was it Thomas, the kid that you really like? Was that his name?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's like Thomas's hand goes up at one point. He goes, Miss, would you ever want to blind somebody?
There may be a time.
And you just see in the background, he's like, nice. and we'll cut to his notes and he's like, blind flower.
I love that. It's like there's a time in every young man's life when he needs to blind someone, and this is one of the most efficient ways to do so.
I love that. Very, very good lesson. Very good lesson. Now, at the end of we'll say at the end of this verse, because, you know, we kind of gloss over the day as a whole, because you guys are teaching through the entire day. Is there anything that you would do in between, like lesson 2 and 3 or 3 and 4, regarding the snake with the formaldehyde?
Not at this moment. I think with that snake, she would just wait until she can talk to the other teachers again. To discuss further what to do about it and like where to go, because she would have to give it to Ernest or even Reggie to do some sort of analysis on it. She herself can't do that. That's not her alleyway. But she'd still like think of different options and stuff that she could do with the other teachers to figure out what to do. So
for sure. And I did end up sending you that list, I think. Of so at some point you also compile all like your grading papers for the last like year overall, and you find that list of students on there. Funny enough, the one at the top being that shithead Riley Spencer, who was an absolute mole last time she was in your class. But she is up there. She is very savvy with potions, along with I think it was like 3 other kids as well.
Yeah.
Now, our dynamic duo. Who am I going to go to next? Who do I think? No, you know what? I think we will go to Reggie. I think because your class is a special electives kind of class. So you can really only take classes from about midday onwards to keep the animals in a cycle where they're comfortable, you know what I mean? Because some of the creatures won't like to be up and about at 9:15, 9:30 in the morning, or for your guys, 9:45.
Neither does Reggie, so.
Yeah, exactly. So it's worked very well for you that you only get your classes till about midday onwards, and even then it's probably only for about 3 or 4 hours, but a lot of your job is also the maintenance and the care of the animals regardless. So it's not like you're not doing nothing, but you definitely don't do as much face-to-face interaction with the students as the rest of your faculty members do either. But we cut down to yours. And the class is obviously mixed, upper grades and lower grades for that reason. And what do you think they be looking at? What monster do you think, or what creature would you be bringing to the board today specifically?
So I think we'd start and you'd see the class starting to like form around the outside demountable with no sign of Reggie for a little while. And then once they sort of are all there, and there's a few random creatures that hang around, like Hawk and a few other small things that they're just sort of interacting and playing with. Reggie comes out looking weirdly not hungover. Like he was wrecked earlier, but he's pulled his shit together at this point of the day.
Impressive.
Whether it's from magical means or a bit of hair of the dog. All right, who's come from Ernie or Miss Blackwood's classes today?
There's a couple of about like 6 hands.
The shit you've been... So, the stuff you've been working with grows all over this campus. As you've been told, it's very poisonous. So I'm going to show you how we keep that under wraps. And he takes them around the side of the demountable, and there's like a storm cellar. Like, you know, the big open doors. And he opens them up and leads them down into this cave. And as they go into the cave, it really opens up weirdly big cavern underneath in the grounds of the school. And it looks like the whole roof is like a night sky. And as he sort of starts to coax one of these things down, starts moving, a big 2-foot tall snail with like a thin layer of brown golden fur, and the entire back is like a crystalline shell with like blacks and purples that seems to reflect like starlight. Brings it down, and it sort of comes down onto his hand, and he's got it like on his whole arm. He starts showing the class the astropods and explaining how these actually wander the grounds of the school at night, eating the night blooms. Then he instructs the class to start collecting their shit.
There's definitely a hard cut to when you're like, yeah, these guys go all over the school at night time.
Mystical. Look at this.
And it's groundskeeper Michelson, and it's just fucking like lines of goo all through like the concrete paths and shit. He's just like, I'm gonna strangle that man. I'm gonna kill him.
But yeah, gets the students to start collecting the dung, which is like just a big pile at the bottom of the cave, basically, like a guano thing. And then instructs one of the students to take whatever is collected up to Evalyn's classroom at the end of the day, as it's a more potent version of the night bloom once it's gone through the digestive system of the astropod.
Yes! Shit!
So imagine like that coffee that famously, you know, these weird little native cats eat when they shit it out. It's more fermented. Yeah. It's basically what they do to the plants.
Evalyn Don't ever give me that coffee.
Evalyn drinks that.
My dad's drinking it. He said it's great.
Oh god, I want to die.
But yeah, essentially has those, so like a cave that's just like these beautiful mystical things, but then the second half of the class is the students collecting the shit to bring up to you guys.
Yeah, I love Charles.
I love that. Yeah, definitely. It's a nice. It's like a controlled little ecosystem under there, and you know the thing is because they're just like storm cellar drains. Like there's been times where you sat there and you watched it, especially when you're like high as fuck and you're like watching, and they don't have appendages. They're just snails. So you watch as the doors just, and one by one, they just crawl out. But miraculous, they move so slow. But the second the sun comes out, they're all fucking gone, and no one knows how. You never see it. You never hear a snail coming. Like, that's why they're the best assassins.
I imagine like Reggie gets like, you know, totally boxed in, blasted in the caves, and swears to God that the snails are writing messages with their snail trails, and like he's going to decipher them and shit. And he's like, "They're sending
flying
messages
around,
from the
cooked at
gods."
night.
There's definitely a couple of notebooks that are like just stacked in the back corner of this room, and like one kid's like, "So what's that? Don't touch it! Your mortal minds are not ready for it." That kind of shit. But no, absolutely.
But then, as an assignment, he's also going to set all the students to, like for homework, look into animal enlarging potions or charms, and try and pay attention to any reactions from any students.
Funny enough, one reaction that you get is from that young Ash, the young boy that was getting bullied last time. He kind of comes up and like tugs on your sleeve, and he asks about it. He goes, "Do they know what that big monster is in the woods, sir?"
Looks around. Anyone else nearby?
No, they're kind of just off doing their own little thing. You know what I mean? Like they kind of click apart. The fuck you know about that? And the girl is like, ah! And like, Ernest just haven't said dinner. Which she did. She mentioned not to go out there because they believed that something was in the woods.
Oh, yep. That's him on the head.
I imagine this fucking vulture grip on the back of this kid's neck, like
His feet are like,
nothing to worry about. Maxwell just pats him on the back like, oh shit, I hope I don't get in trouble for that.
I think he could see your concern. He goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's not that bad. Miss Amos has blasted students once."
More than once.
Oh, Miss Embers. Sorry, Miss Embers. No, not Amos. Yeah, Miss Embers. She's scary.
She's scary.
Absolutely.
Nothing to worry about, mate.
I'm gonna get you to roll brains for me,
Uh-oh.
and
Me too, buddy, don't
it's
worry.
gonna be pretty low. It's gonna be pretty low for you. Let's set it at just a DC. What's your die for that?
6.
I'm gonna set it at a 4.
1.
Yeah, you don't hear anything.
Jail.
You're kind of just interjecting yourself with into jail. Take an adversity token for that for the failure.
Yep.
Also, quick reminder. I realized we weren't doing it in the last 2 episodes because we all kind of got caught up with the story. But every time you roll for magic, you have to add a D4 to it.
Thank you for the reminder.
You automatically
I remember
get a
us talking about
D4
that.
for magic anyway. So that's something you get to. It helps you overcome those DCs in either really small or really big ways.
Yeah.
So it's always handy.
Okay.
But yeah, so your class continues on for the day, and we'll cut to our final teacher, Amos, Miss Embers. We'll kind of backpedal a little bit for the timeline. Your first class for the day, for you, is actually mostly upper grade kids because the intensity of your class can get pretty high
Oh yeah.
off the bat. So those kids that come into your class first thing in the morning, it's like fucking come correct or get corrected the second you walk in the door. That's the kind of mentality they've got. Like, I would think that there's even a couple of kids that have like played practical jokes on Amos and slapped like warning stickers around the door of her classroom, like radioactive, beware of dog, like all that sort of stuff.
Yes, yeah.
I
Just
see
keep
it.
them up. Do you think it was funny?
Yeah, I see it. That's what I see in my brain. So all the kids come in and pretty quickly they all settle down and kind of get into their seat, which normally it's a bit more, they're a bit more loud. Maxwell Crom is there, again, that shithead. But this time, you can tell off the bat, you kind of have to be aware of like students and stuff. He's looking a bit funky. But by the time you kind of clue onto it, everyone's there, and we'll go into what Amos's lesson would be for the day.
She would, I don't know if she'd open up with a small statement about what happened last night to like kind of just get it out there.
Regarding Shane?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah, she probably would. All right. Well, of course, I need to address this because it was lightly touched on last night, but I'm going to reiterate. Please do not leave the school grounds. You are safe inside of the walls. 'Tis the safest place for you to be. Just look after each other, and hopefully we are not met with another tragedy. For those who were friends with Shane, I'm terribly sorry for your loss.
now, correct me, but was there any statement made about Shane? No, there wasn't.
I was gonna say, no, let this happen.
You got 2 options here. I'll let you retcon it, or we leave it and we fucking roll with the
I'm
punches.
gonna leave it and roll with the punches, because she will, after she says it, she like goes, there was no name released at dinner last night, was there?
Just a lot of heads shaking. Like,
Kids crying.
She's like,
Brings out a memory sharp.
actually, yes. Once that happens, she goes, all right, I understand you're all upset. Let's do a happiness spell. And she'll open it up and you see it go, and it just like does like it's like a Men in Black thing.
I don't even know if I want to
Everybody look into the light.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get you to roll for it, because you're the teacher. Like,
I'm maybe I can roll for its like effectiveness because it's such a large group of
sure.
people.
Yeah, do that for sure. So it's a snap decision, so you can't take half the value. So Roy, yours is D20, right? You're pretty high.
I was kind of gonna roll off of. Does all magic get rolled off of 5?
No, it doesn't. You can adjust it
charm?
according to stat. Yeah, I would say no, because charm's like more like your charisma.
What about brains?
I would say brains. I'd say
Okay.
brains. So you still get to add your D4.
So that's. Do I have any?
You should, as a faculty, you should have +1.
Yeah. So that's 8.
With an 8, I would think. You know what? I think with an 8. Again, we're playing the system pretty loosey goosey here, not really setting DCs and stuff. I would say with an 8, but you would have done this spell a lot, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because there's definitely been times where you've like
yeah.
knocked a kid flat on their fucking ass and like fucked them up, and you're like, delete. And so I would I think with an 8, it's you effectively rewrite the memory to say, don't go out in the woods because something really fucking bad happened, but you've deleted anything about the kid.
I think, if the 8 isn't quite enough to make it perfect, maybe it's a really botched up memory thing where if anyone was friends with I'm terribly sorry. She's literally just bleeping out the name. It's almost like a censorship spell.
There, yeah. Ah, yes, the Jerry Springer special. Absolutely. But what would be the lesson for the day for Amos? What would you go into? Because obviously you don't have a lot of interconnected classes with the other teachers because of your specialty. What would it be?
Well, would you be aware of kind of what's on the agenda for the other teachers
I think so.
today?
I think so, yeah.
All right, well, there's going to be quite a bit on your agendas today regarding some very nasty flora. Now, there are many ways we can deal with nasty flora out in the wild, but a lot of those result in very widespread solutions. So, what do we want to do? And we want to protect, ecosystems from not simply turning everything into a cinder. Well, here is a nifty little spell that will ensure you do not burn down the woodland surrounding when you're trying to get rid of nasty flora out there. And she has some very porous rocks set up on some podiums in kind of like a line, and they're all soaking wet. They're all dripping. Now, this spell can teeter on into some no-no spells, so I'm going to ask that if we ever use this spell, we only ever use it on inanimate objects, or flora specifically is what I'm teaching it for you for. I refuse to get written up again for teaching you a spell that's a little bit exy, and you decide to use it for very bad reasons. I will find out who it is. And she will...
You hear a couple of wands just go...
There's a few students that are just sinking under there.
Yeah, they're fucking Amos has got that anime energy where it's like, and like it darkens over the top, like...
She goes to black and white. Pinpoint pupils.
Aaron Yeager.
And she will take an appropriate stance away from the rock, and she will pull out her wand, and she will... Actually, she'll explain. Now, the speed at which I'm about to do it is not a speed you will be able to accomplish. We will work up to that. You will start off doing it very slow because we want to be thorough. Do note, it is a spell that requires some concentration. You need to be very particular with what you are drawing out. But this is essentially a moisture absorption spell, where you can strip the moisture out of the object of your desire. And with a very quick and proficient flick, she will twist her wand and immediately just hoik it back, and almost like a whip cracking, you watch the stone go bone dry as water then you don't see any water the whole time, but when she flicks it up behind her, there's just a whole splatter of water that goes up the back wall.
Cool.
And she overkilled it a little bit. She would have done it with such ferocity that the rock's actually starting to crumble a little bit in places, and it's starting to turn to dust and fall apart on the outer edges. And she goes, "Oh, that's why we do it slow the first time. So essentially, this will help you for a majority of nasty flora you come across. Neutralize them almost immediately. It will, well, for lack of a better term, render them dead.
I think there's a hard cut because you get so into it and you whip the water back. So there's a student. There's a student in your class specifically who all the teachers know. Her name's Chelsea Berrycloth. She is like a prodigious spellcaster. Like this kid is, she's 18, so she's literally on the end of her tenure, and she is a phenomenal spellcaster for her age. And she always sits at the front, like she loves this shit. And when the water whips back, and there's almost like a splash zone at the front of the school, at the front of the classroom, you find she whips her wand up and puts up a force wall, and it just completely blisters the two students next to them. She goes, oh, but and they just get fucking axed off the chairs. But yeah, a lot of the students like see this, they're like, well, that's fucking cool. Hell yeah, we're gonna be fighting evil plants, dude. This is sick. Like, especially a lot of the boys are like really into it. A lot of the girls are like, oh, that's fucking weird. But the boys is like, hell yeah.
Imagine just like a cut to Ernie. He's like, something's wrong.
I was gonna say,
it's Ernie in the window, like.
She will, at the end of the lesson, absolutely do a disclaimer where she will basically like advise, like, this is, you know the whole premise of this class. It is only on a need basis, never a want. The spells that are taught beyond that door in this classroom are only for emergencies and when you are between a rock and a hard place. You are not to be casting these spells inside of other classrooms. You are not to be defiling or vandalizing property within the other classrooms using this spell. Failure to comply with these rules will result in very strict consequences. Have I made myself quite clear?
Whole class like an army base. Yes, miss.
Ernie uses that spell to dry his product.
Stop giving away my trade secrets. Reggie.
Did you hear that through the hall? I think there'd be a moment while you're like in class prepping the plaza, you just hear, something's wrong. The birds. it's heinous. But no, very good. I just lost where I was. The class ends, and I think, what was the normal slot for classes for us? It was about an hour and a bit, I think, for each class when we were in high school. It was about an hour?
Yeah, roughly.
About an hour, okay.
Like
So about an hour and a half, the class wraps up, and all the students of class, the room's fucking, there's one side of the room that's completely dry, and one side that's just fucking soaked, right? Like, some students got onto it, some students not really as much. But it's okay, you can get in with like a prestidigitational kind of magic, and it'd be fine. But as you're like kind of helping clean up and getting everything set up for the next class, Maxwell approaches you to come and speak to you, and in a very sheepish way. Like, you know, like when a kid's been bad, but they want to talk to their, like a kid's been naughty and they want to talk to their parents and they can't make eye contact, but they talk at you.
Oh,
like,
he's a little fucking shithead bully, and he's one of the older ones too.
yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, you're just like, what do you want? Fucking just lobotomize this kid. Point blank
All
range.
the moisture out of the kid.
It's fucking dying.
Throws him out the window for Michelson.
We've hit Monica's button.
It's just
Every classroom. It's a Michelson's problem.
Poor Mike.
No one knows how he gets around and does everything so quickly and effectively either.
It's because there's like 8 of him. We only ever see one at a
I
time.
can imagine, like, at the end of the year when they're handing out the, like, Employee of the Year award, the headmistress is doing, like, this big speech, like, we thank this member for always looking after the school and keeping it neat and tidy, and he's standing there like, it's gotta be me, it's gotta be me. And so I award this, and pulls out like a little medal and turns around, it's one of your fucking snails on there. For always keeping our grounds safe.
The employee of the year has been Michelson like 40 years running. It's just on the same photo every year. Never ages, never changes. This is the same photo. I love that. Maxwell, Max comes up to you and he goes very sheepishly, Miss, this is probably going to sound really fucking stupid, but have you seen Shane anywhere at all? No one's heard from him.
That is a question that I'm afraid I cannot answer for you at the moment. If you have any concerns, I would probably head to the administration office and see if you can speak to the headmistress regarding it.
Okay. I'll do that. He like grabs his bag, kind of like just shuffles out, real depressed looking.
And Max,
Hmm.
keep out of trouble.
Yes, miss. And he continues to walk out. The day moves on, and thankfully you all look up as the bell chimes for lunch break in the middle of the day as it rings through. Wait, I've got to think of this.
Yeah!
Hell yeah. Where we go? Stepping into the halls, you hear the many talks and the laughs of the students as they mingle in any free space they can find, waiting to trade time frames with their companions as they all cross over for the day. So it's not uncommon, like teachers can eat in their offices. You can also have the common room if you want, or if you're feeling extra, you can go sit out in the courtyard, because there's a big open courtyard in the middle of the school. What would you guys want to do? Or you can go to the cafeteria, obviously. So there's a multitude of places you guys can go for lunch. Like, do you link together? Does anyone go off and be little emo Edmund? Yes?
Because Ernest has to take care of detention later.
Mm-hmm.
Ernest has to take care of detention later. He's taking the time now, actually, during his lunch to go out of his way to make sure his classroom's going to be all sorted out. So there'll be minimal cleanup in the afternoon, making sure all the paperwork's in order. He's double checking the logs to make sure it's only one student in detention today. Going through the works of it. Just paperwork, homework, check this, mark that, here's my red pen, out the window it goes. Essentially.
Michelson? That's going to be the running joke for this little season, is this Michelson getting shat on.
I'm not sorry. When fertilizer goes out that window, it will become literal. But yeah, no, he's literally doing that. If he goes and gets food, it's quick, it's concise, it's give me a sandwich, I'm outies. And he's gone.
Absolutely. So the lunch, like the people that like operate the lunchroom, like they're laying everything out because it's like cafeteria style, and you find they lay a tray of like sandwiches out, and then there's just they turn, and there's like two missing. Like, damn you, Ernest!
As he runs away with him.
And you hit in the back of your mind, you didn't get tuna again this time, did you?
No, I got egg.
Bring me eggs. I love playing this fucking monstrosity. It's so much fun for me.
He doesn't have a name, by the way.
just it.
Yeah, it that.
Hey, you. Absolutely. What about the rest of our fabulous faculty?
Cafeteria, putting as much on the tray as he possibly can.
Oh, there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so
and it's
much.
all munchies junk. Doesn't grab any of the like proper food. It's like, oh, there's chips. Oh, got some popcorn. You know, like a little like deep fried
The
chicken nugget
Lunchables.
things. Like, yeah, like, it's just garbage food, and he's just walking off with this.
Hell yeah. It's absolutely fucking mounted on the tray. And obviously, the teachers, when you guys eat if you eat in the cafeteria, you eat on the mezzanine floor because you've got to look over the top. What about our other two teachers?
I think Amos would probably just be having lunch in her classroom.
Mhm.
She's feeling a bit like kicking herself a bit about that slip up this morning, not feeling great about it. That was a big boo-boo. She felt actually pretty bad about that. So she's going to sulk a bit in her classroom and eat lunch there. Yeah.
Okay. What about Evalyn?
Evalyn will send Oki to go collect these three with little notes in his mouth that basically say, like, when you have time, meet me in my classroom. We have some shit to discuss, and we have to figure out this whole snake situation. And essentially sends Oki to go run around sniffing out everyone, grabbing toes and shit.
Yeah, I think so the running gag is Oki has a bunch of different hats that he wears depending on what he does, and
This is a mailman's hat.
a mailman's hat. I was going to say it's either mailman or an army helmet. But we'll go mailman.
There's so many variations.
So you just go and it goes whoop, and then the mailman hat comes on, and he's got like a little red tie that like kind of cuts off at the bottom, so it looks like he's got a jacket on.
Yeah.
And he goes, "For this mission, I will not fail." and he skills off. Now, familiars have got this weird thing, right? Because they're like semi-awakened animals. He shouldn't be able to dart around the school as fast as he does. But fucking blimey does he do it. Your students have just left, the bell's just rung, and you see the door open, but you don't see anything. You're like, what the fuck? And then in like 2 seconds flat, there's like a at your ankle, and it's Oki with a letter in his mouth.
Oh, aren't you just adorable? And she like, I will take it. Like, oh, you're so cute. Oh.
Yeah, and he does that the sassy dash and like, and then leaves.
Oh, my God.
He catches you in the hallway as you are like trying to break through the crowd. So before you even get back to your classroom, he's just like, and he like jumps in between your feet, but he's kind of like a bit easier for you to see because you're such a short boy.
Ernest looks at the letter. He knows that's a summons, specifically from Evalyn. And he does that thing that if you own a small dash hound, you know exactly what this thing is. Where he does that step like he's gonna go run away. And it just sends him fucking wild.
Oh, you get a relay in your brain. We're like, "Mistress, he's trying to run."
I do not have time for this! Sir!
Stop, please! I beg of thee. My legs are tiny.
So mine, bitch!
The voice in the back of your brain. Can I eat it now?
No, he takes the letter.
Fuck.
Ernest is just like the Grinch meme of like, don't roll up the dog.
Yeah.
Don't stir up the dog. I go run away, but I'm gonna sidestep and go the other way.
But yes, you have been summoned.
Fucking captured.
Oki would bite toes.
I'm fucking care. I'm wearing boots right now.
And then the last one, he meets you as you go to get on the stairs to walk up the mezzanine floor. Quickly, he goes, "Ah!" and he slides under your foot, and he just holds you up.
Grab one of the chicken nuggets and throw it down to him.
He's got the letter in his mouth.
Grabs the letter and forces a nugget in his mouth.
And runs off. And by the time Oki comes back, he's got a full chicken nugget in his mouth.
But it's slobbered on because he hasn't gotten the okay to eat it yet.
Yeah. Just drool.
Yes.
I come in just behind him with the tray of like nuggets and chips.
But everyone reconvenes in Evelyn's office, and the door shuts, and you guys now have the floor.
Take me on the floor.
So, this is essentially what would happen. Evalyn would be there writing, and then she'd look up and be like, "Ah, thank you for coming."
You want a nugget?
Actually, yes, thank
Oh,
you.
yes,
I didn't
please.
go get lunch yet. And it's just like an assortment of food just on the
It's
on
a
the
huge
desk.
tray
now.
of deep fried garbage. Just
Ernest doesn't share his sandwiches at all.
Yeah, he's got his sandwiches and he's looking at the fried food and he's got his sandwiches as well.
I put my food
Oh,
down
fucking
stupidly close to like potions and shit to like poison and shit.
Amos uses one thinking it's a salt shaker. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm blind.
Completely burns your insides out. Like,
Spicy.
It's like, Anyway,
I can't fucking see.
I'm fucking blind! Why would you keep these things so close together?
We're Peaky Blinders.
Who's gonna tell her her eyes are closed?
Oh my God! Someone, please cure me. Someone, please. Oh, I'm more off, everyone. It's okay.
oh, good God. But yeah, Evalyn would there'd be already chairs there because she'd know that if I say snake, they run. So she'll have the snake on the table and then turn to everyone and just be like, I've been looking through my students and everything like that just to see who would be capable of an enlargement, either potion or spell. And I've gotten 4 students. 2 of them lower grade, 2 of them upper. How do you say her name again?
Raleigh.
Raleigh. I keep wanting to say
It's a very American
Yeah.
name, so it is tricky in a Aussie accent. It's very hard, but it's Raleigh.
Yeah. So Raleigh, Miss Spencer, is one of those students. Another one is Kelsey Jones. She's also another upper. The other 2 are lower grade, and I don't have high hopes that they could do something like this, but because it could also be an accident, I have also considered them for questioning as well, which is Ricky and Susan.
I hate to say it, but I've got Riley on my list too. She's got a very volatile 1 core and is quite expressive with it in class, but has, unfortunately, a good understanding of complex spells like that.
Yeah.
Do any of those students take my elective?
No.
Send the 2 older ones to detention and we'll get the answers out of it.
Did I have them at all in the morning, or do I get them in the afternoon?
I would say afternoon.
Alright.
Yeah.
I'll figure out a way to send them to you. As for the younger ones, I feel like I might pull them aside one day and just talk to them, see if there's anything that, pops up, if there's any slight change in their facial features when I talk to them about snakes or enlargements and stuff like that. Because they're a lot easier to manipulate with those sorts of things. As for the snake itself, did either of you want to take it on?
Picks it up and just starts looking at it. Anything obvious looking at it?
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna make you roll for it because, even before you became a magical beast, like extraordinaire, you would have just been all about animals back in your normal life before you discovered you were good at magic. It's just a run of the mill brown snake. Or sorry, it was a red belly black. I think is what we said. So you know that. They're not, I believe they're not exactly native to England, but it doesn't mean they can't be there if they're not imported by a snake collector, granted. But it's just run of the mill. It has no weird, even through the formaldehyde, you can see there doesn't seem to be any sheen of the scales that would denote that it's some sort of crossbreed or it's some sort of mutation. When you take it out and you can put some of the potion gloves on, you start investigating it as a whole. The wounds that it suffered from the battle are pretty conducive to the injuries, especially with Amos being a very offensive spellcaster, and the potions and all that sort of stuff. And then Ernest crash tackling it, it crash tackling it.
Cousin it.
Just it, yeah. I think what shocks you the most is the stark mundanity of how regular this snake is. But I would say with that realization, for Reggie specifically, all of a sudden, the concept of its outward aggression becomes way more apparent because something that is this big when it becomes this big, its entire environment has changed, and it became hostile because it didn't know what was happening. That's why. It's in a place that it seemed it didn't know. All of a sudden, it's 10 times the fucking size of what it was, and it had people coming into somewhere where it was hiding. It makes sense why it was so aggressive.
So it doesn't seem like it was charmed or pointed. It was just
A snake.
frightened.
I would like to try something.
Mhm.
Not sure if this is something in the realm that Ernest can possibly achieve, but I want to see if I can almost scrub it for magical vibes, specifically ruling out spells cast by those who fought it, and try and pick up on any magical signatures that the creature might have on it from other spells being cast on it.
Magical echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's got the magic germs.
Like a logbook.
Not so much a logbook.
Internet history.
Like
Yeah.
Search history.
Magic history.
if you scrape under someone's fingernails, you can kind of tell where they've been.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not entirely in the realm of impossibility, but I'm going to be completely transparent because like potions do leave residue. Spells don't. There's a reason why. So you can try. I'll be completely honest. I don't think you'd be able to pull anything from it. And if it was potions related, it definitely would have been diluted because it was in formaldehyde to preserve the snake. You can try it. It'll just be insanely fucking high. Like, you'd need to probably explode to get that. Or a lucky break, rather, is what they call it.
Give it a crack anyways, I reckon.
Through brains.
Through brains, yeah.
Worst case, you get adversity.
I'm gonna say, it's gonna be insanely high. I'm probably looking at like, probably 16, 17. It's probably where you want to be.
14.
14.
A premonition.
Good. You get in really well, and yeah, you get in, and after it's been pulled out of formaldehyde and it's laid out, you're looking over it. You can definitely discern the differences between what Evalyn did to what Amos did. Absolutely, that's not an issue. But as far as like why it was so big, like whether it was a potion or it was an enlargement or it was a curse or something of those lines, it's just not in your wheelhouse. So you can't kind of break through that like mental barrier to get to that, unfortunately.
It's a good suggestion.
But pretty high. That's a pretty high roll, all things considered.
Yeah.
Now that we know that we're rolling d4s without magic, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
And brains is actually Ernest's most buffed out stat.
Oh, so you just
Yeah.
fell short. Yep. But yeah, make sure you mark down your adversity token for that
Already
as
have.
well. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you're all kind of sitting there. The plot thickening for this. Is there anything else that you guys would want to do before?
Is there any way of establishing whether a creature has been a familiar?
No.
No.
Because
Truly?
a familial bond is
To that.
only between the
Yeah.
person and the
Fair
animal.
enough, I guess.
Once that bond is broken, they just go back to being an animal.
Yeah.
That's why your familiars are so unique, is because you guys have had them since you were in school.
Yeah.
And they've become their own little personalities. But the second that familial bond was to break, they just turn back into a normal animal.
Would there be a logbook of some type with the school records of who keeps what familiars?
Oh, surely.
You could check, yeah, for sure. You absolutely could do that. Just have a history of teachers, like see if anyone ever had a red-bellied black as a pet, like, yeah, or as a familiar. You could, like, yeah, I would think so. I would think teachers bringing familiars onto grounds, they would absolutely have to document it. Like, you know what I mean? They're classified as faculty members, you know what I mean? Oki's allowed to run around and deliver letters to people. He's listed in there. He's the mailman.
Yeah.
I worry that if this was an accident, and perhaps the student who did it, if it was a student, didn't know that that was their doing, to then deliver that news, that's what happened. I'm just saying, it's gonna be pretty fucking shite. I'm I'm not saying it shouldn't be addressed regardless, but I think if we do find out that it was accidental and it was by a student, we should tread carefully.
Of course.
There's also the ability or possibility that someone, whether they're at the school or not, is trying to cause chaos.
That's also a possibility.
This isn't a native creature. They have to get it from somewhere.
I had to get mine imported. I didn't get it from here.
There's definitely record too where like other schools have pranked, like especially in like rugby and stuff, they've pranked by like enlarging like pigs and cows and unleashing them onto like the campuses and stuff. So yeah, that's absolutely in the realm of possibility as well, I would think. And you being the animal guy, you would know that for sure.
Well, I got mine from... Granted, it was years ago, but I got Snick from an illegal... Snick. From an illegal poaching ring. It was a while ago, but that's... Like, the red-belly blacks are not common, and I ended up rescuing mine from a poaching ring. But like I said, that was many years ago. I don't know if that's still relevant, though, for this particular issue.
I'll put some word out. I assume that being an magical animals person at school, I know some legitimate and less legitimate people that sell creatures in the area.
I would think so.
Surely.
Yeah, I'd think so. I think you've got a guy that lives in like the West End of London who's a bit more, he's, on paper, he's completely legal, but he has his foot in like every door.
We said in modern times, you mentioned regular laptops and shit.
Yeah, fucking
So I go to like do some letter, and then I'm like, what am I doing? Pull out a mobile phone. A few people.
What the? Give me the phone.
Romanov. Wait a minute.
Romanov!
Buddy! Nico, my cousin, let's go bowling.
Send out a few messages asking if anyone has, in the last few months, sold or imported any red belly black snakes.
Sure, we can. It'll take a couple of hours or a couple of days before you get responses, but you've already got the feelers out, which is really good. Wonderful.
I have one last thing I'd like to try.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind if I hold on to it for a minute? Do you mind if I just take it with me? I'm just gonna go and figure out what's in its stomach.
I mean, I've got knives and shit.
Fuck yeah, let's go! Gloves. And he's open surgery on the snake. He's just trying to find out what's in the stomach.
Evalyn 100% has the classes doing
right in front of
dissecting
your
of
chicken
frogs
nugget
and
salad.
Amos is like,
Oki is on the ground and he's just like he wants it so bad. He wants to eat this fucking snake.
oh god.
I want to turn it into a tie. It looks dope.
But you open this bad boy up, and what shocks you the most is its stomach contents are empty.
It could have shit recently. Starts going through the intestines.
Like there's
That-
shit, but that's it.
That
Yeah, but
takes my attention. If there's not much inside him, why didn't he eat the student that he attacked?
Dun, dun.
I wish I had that on it. I love Law and Order.
Once Ernest is all like, well, that wasn't very exciting. You wanted the skin, you said? Okay. Yep. Flips it over, starts skinning it.
In the back of your brain, you just keep the meat.
No.
I hate it here.
Shut the fuck up. He's said that out loud.
I think that was pointed at you. Maybe.
What?
What? I think
I'm not eating it raw.
I'm not asking you to eat it raw. I'm asking you to keep it so I can cook it later.
Smell. And he's genuinely pondering how he would keep this snake meat without being busted for having it.
I think he goes on a full. He goes on a full Venom rant. Where it's like, "We won't let me eat people."
No, genuinely, that's a big issue for him.
It's just mental image of a skinwalker breaking a chair. Like,
Just the shadows on the back wall, like him.
oh yeah, it's very
tantruming.
Dr. Facilier. The shadow is on the wall. It's like, like freaking the fuck out. Anything else before we all decide to head back out for lunch?
Oh, yes. Do I remember, like, who was the student that asked me last episode about Shane? There was a student that asked me about him.
I can't remember for the love of me.
So this kid, right?
This kid, right?
Don't remember his
Listen
name.
here.
I had one student that asked me about Shane yesterday.
Who was it?
I only know Thomas!
That was so delayed. I was about to follow up and go, yeah, man, what's their name? And then I realised that you were, yeah. Always last to the party.
Thomas is the only one that matters!
Yes! Anyway, I told this kid that Shane was in the infirmary. And
I can't remember who it was.
they were very, like, and that Shane was very sick.
Well,
So,
Oh.
Did you lie?
Oh, you guys are gonna love this. I fucked up this period. Woo-wee! So I'm standing there, right? You know, I'm like, oh, I'll say a few words out of respect, you know, because, you know, the headmistress has already said, you know, like, the kids croaked it and shit like that. And then I full on just name drop the fucking kid. I forgot we didn't talk about the kid's fucking name. So of course I had to hit him with the fucking man in black, beep beep. And, you know, not my best work. It was packed to the rafters this morning, so not my best work. Lots of eyes.
did anyone react to the
There
name
was,
before you?
hard cut to crying.
yeah, they were fine. They survived.
That actually, you've triggered a response in my brain. All of you guys here in Collected realize that even in the wake of Shane dying, the principal has not made a singular announcement telling the students that a student has died.
Wait, didn't you say before that they made an announcement?
I don't know.
Not
She made an announcement that there was at
There's a
dinner
creature.
that there was a creature in the woods, but
Roger.
she never made an announcement about him dying. She called you guys into the office
That's
first
right.
thing in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I believe the words
So Amos
were,
has double dutied herself.
"You
Yeah.
double duty yourself."
Yeah.
But like you start thinking about it, it's like
Should we?
there's no magical cops, there's no enforcement, there's no specialists that come in. None of the students know about it. You had that one kid ask about it, and then that one for you.
Anyways, so I might have fucked up on that front twice over, like I like my eggs. And then I also remembered that there was no talking about someone specifically dying. So perhaps my was not sufficient enough. I managed to blur out the name though. So it was kind of just like, oh, you know, if you're friends with me, then I'm very terribly sorry. It's basically how it's sitting in their brains right now. So we should prepare for questions going forward. Also, oddly enough,
Maxwell.
Maxwell Crom came up and asked me specifically about Shane. I told him to talk to the headmistress because I was no longer dealing with that. I'd already put my foot in it. I wasn't bomb diving further. So sorry, everyone. My lack of brain cells has failed us all once again.
Just a hard highlight reel of every time.
Yeah, every time I fucked something up like that. So good news, everyone. So-and-so is pregnant. No, they're not. No, they're not. Wait.
You are the Gilderoy Lockhart.
I could see a smash cut of like 50 different just the classrooms getting wiped.
Yeah.
I remember
The kids end up being fully fucking lobotomized with the amount of times their memory gets
before
deleted.
she like perfected the spell, it was just like, psh, any of you little shits repeated it, I'll fucking get you.
I'll get ye. I'll get ye. I'll get ye. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay.
Should we maybe report our findings to their mistress?
Well, I think it's clear that I should be making no decisions henceforth, so I will leave that to the rest of you.
I vote no. Because she hasn't said anything yet.
But she assigned us to figure out what's going on.
She didn't say we had to report to her about it.
I don't like loopholes.
It's just like a loading bar going on.
I'm gonna tell her.
Why would you
Wait,
do that?
wait, I think Evelyn's onto something. Nobody's been called in yet about this.
Maybe they're waiting till we find out what's going on.
But still,
But how does
someone's
she know if
died.
we find it?
Like, somebody has died. Like, a student has died.
Where's the... Hey, fam! Your kid's dead. Where's the popo? Where's the helicopter?
Helicopter!
Is this weird in our world?
Yes.
I don't know how this world works.
Think of it as like normal 21st century, but with magic.
Yeah.
And
But
The
It
wizard
could be
cops
regular,
come
but-
fully strapped with
Yeah.
handguns and wands. Like they're loaded for any situation.
I cast gun.
Prepare to meet gold.
I can see where you're coming from. I can genuinely see where you're coming from. Cup half empty and all. What if she's the one who's turned the snake? What if it's one of the faculty members that have turned this snake? What if literally the only reason they haven't told anyone yet is because they're currently preserving his body so they can have some answers when reporting it?
It's a pretty shit way of doing it.
We're a public school. We've got a pretty shit way of doing just about everything.
A public private school, no less.
I mean, look, if you want to go ahead and do it your way, you're more than welcome to. I'm just saying, it's pretty fucking weird. It's not been addressed on any systematic level yet outside of the school.
because I'm all for not doing class and hunting down big giant snake, but should that not have been a job for said magic law enforcement?
Most of the private schools just get their students to sort this shit out.
Why did she get the people that she hired to do this?
Because we were in danger.
Yeah,
A staff endangerment.
yeah. I'm calling fair work.
I want a fucking payout.
So this bitch, right? Giant snake.
Tell me about it.
That was the most. That was the most aggressive that I've ever seen you do. As you guys start cluing on having this discussion, the end of the lunch break is nowhere near, and very quickly there's a very rapid, like a non-stop pounding at your door specifically.
I can imagine her.
And you hear Tony on the other side. Can I come in? This is bad.
Sure.
He just blasts the door a bit, fucking sweat, no jacket, like he goes, Ernie, accident, green room, right now, run, please, and begins to sprint out the door.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, he's got tiny legs, but he's keeping up.
He's got full Marvin the Martian speed.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
But shall we?
Sure, yes, let's... We don't know what it could be. It could be another big thing. Let's go.
And I just Aki right. No.
Pay attention. She knows an animal in life smell.
Just shoot her clean off the back.
It was Evalyn all along.
That's it, case
That's
closed.
why she didn't want to tell anyone. It was her all along.
Fuck them kids. Oh, that's fucking wild. Now I've just got this image of Evalyn riding a giant ocky but getting fucking jackhammered off the back of it. Oh, insane. You guys sprint through the hallways and like Tony is like fucking in a dead sprint. Like at one point he almost like knocks over like a fucking 14-year-old girl. He's like, oh sorry sweetheart, and he begins to keep running like and you know dress shoes have no fucking grip. So he's just like oh my god. Holy shit.
Just fucking.
Does what?
Go! What? It's insane, and you guys are sprinting. You're laughing now. You're laughing now, aren't you?
Yep.
You guys break into the hallway, which leads into your office in the green room. Entering into your classroom, Ernest, you are met with something pretty grisly. Not as grisly as Shane's body, but pretty high on the chart at this point of your lives of the shit that you've had to deal with. Maxwell Crom is currently being manhandled by two upper grade students, Jordan and Jacinta Jones. They're both twins. Tan skin, black hair, of like a very sun-kissed tan skin, black shiny hair. While another student, Jeremy Crow, who's about 16, is on his knees wailing as he holds a bloody hand with his pinky, ring, and middle finger all torn off in a bloody ragged tear. Your eyes immediately begin to scan the situation, and you look over to see the snapping plant that you had caged, which now sits smoking, burned alive in its cage, immolated. But with the obvious refuse of what sanguine fluid has left this child's hand is all over the front of the cage. Pretty fucking self-explanatory what's happened here.
What's the kid who got bitten up?
Jeremy Crow.
And Jordan and Jacinta are holding Maxwell as if they're trying to
Restrain him.
Like,
so Jacinta and Jordan are very fit kids. Like, they're both really into their sports and stuff. And Maxwell, he's pretty chunky dude, big boy. It gets to the point, like, let's just call it for what it is. He starts trying to throw him up, and Jordan just fucking uppercuts him square in the stomach, and just hits him, and he's like, and he like wails him out. And he looks at the teacher, he's like, sorry, a little bit much, isn't it? Get the fucking down. He like puts his head on the fucking ground. And what do you guys want to do?
I'm gonna pull out my wand at Maxwell and try and do a charm spell to calm him down and get him more.
Go for it.
So that's a D20 for me.
D20 plus D4 plus all your bonuses.
What am I trying for here?
He's young. I'm gonna say you just want to get. He's young, but he's angry. Get 10 and up.
Yeah, like what? 17, 18, 24.
You exceed it by 5 or more. You knock him clean the fuck out. You're like, all right, calm down. He just goes, and they just let him go too. They don't try to save him. He just falls over, just wet thuds the ground. Good one, sir.
I'm good at some things.
Fuck it. And Jacinta walks over and just kicks him in the leg.
Amos is going to immediately start fussing over Jeremy.
He's scream crying, like screaming, and he's just like, fucking head, my fucking head, fuck. You all know Jeremy was a bit of an artist.
Of note, while this is happening, Ernest has approached the cage. He's just ripped it open, and whatever remains of the plant, he's immediately begun digging through.
Mm-hmm.
Because with how I'm going to say this one is one of these snap traps,
mm-hmm.
these ones take a while to dissolve their food.
Mm-hmm.
So if this plant has taken a chunk out of this kid,
mm-hmm.
unless whoever cast the fire spell also disintegrated the finger bits.
Ooh, okay.
I want to find them finger bits to try and save this kid's fucking hand.
Okay. What we're going to do, I think we'll leave it to a luck check. That's pretty fun for me. We're gonna leave it to a luck check. We'll do D20. So, 11 and down, no dice. 12 and up, you can miraculously pull the fingers out of the gut. That's a 13. There you go.
Yay.
So you very, very quickly. I feel like it's also in such a rapid state of emotional highness that you guys watch as like Ernest's hand goes back and like your fingers get really long and you kind of like just dig in and you just like, and you lose him from about the waist down, the waist up, like his legs are sticking out as you're like crawling into this giant fucking plant. And begrudgingly, you get to the bottom of the what are they called again? Snap traps?
So this would be, it's like a hybrid between a Venus flytrap and a snapdragon,
Yes.
except that will take your fingers off if you poke them at their flowers. So these things will rip you apart from the flowers.
Well, isn't that? Look at something I wrote just happened to coincide with that. How good for me. I am the fucking best. It's gross. You're just like, oh, fuck, and you got to reach in there. And even it in the back of your brain is just like, ugh. Like as you reach in and grab these kids' fucking fingers. And I would say any one of you can literally just like pull moisture from the air and create an ice box and just quickly like whack them into a fucking container. But he's so white in the fucking face. Like if it's not blood, it's just shock. Maxwell's unconscious. Jordan and Jacinta are there. And Jordan kind of walks over to you specifically and he goes, I'm sorry, sir. It had a hold of Jeremy. I didn't know what else to do.
Things happen. What matters right now is not my plan. It is getting Jeremy to Nurse Dot. Let's go.
I'll take him. Give me the fingers and I'll take him. You deal with this.
Yep.
And Amos will take Jeremy to the nurse. with
You
the
sprint
fingers.
straight off to Nurse Dot. So we'll come back to you in a moment.
Yeah.
Our other three faculty that are already here, what's the game plan? What are we doing now? So Maxwell's unconscious. You've got Jordan and Jacinta there. Amos has taken Jeremy to Nurse Dot.
Someone get Maxwell in my fucking classroom.
Grab him by the scruff.
I see it by the ankle and his head's just like on all the tiles. Like, fuck you, dude.
And then to the twins, it's I need a step-by-step. Pulls out an incident report.
So begrudgingly, like, oh.
But there's two of them, one for both of their perspectives, and he just starts filling them out as quickly as he can, because these two are clearly have intercepted whatever's been going on.
So they have so Jacinta and Jordan have this very the twins from The Shining energy where they all like when their classes aren't together but they're always together, like, you know, like the twin siblings. It's a very different ballgame. Their reciting of the incident is nearly fucking verbatim exactly the same. They were walking past the classroom together. They were just coming out of like from outside to come back to get ready for class, and they heard a lot of shouting. They opened the door, and it's Maxwell, and he's got Jeremy, and he's like kind of like dusting him up a little bit, and they both recite where Jeremy says, "I know you had something to do with it. Where is he?" And Jeremy is screaming, "I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Don't hurt me." And in Maxwell's instant fit of bully brain, as I'll call it, he runs him backwards and slams him up against the cage, and his hand went in and the snap trap latched onto the hand.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, that's where they say they intervened and they didn't know what else to do. So Jordan incinerated it, and in its rage, it pulled and tore his fingers clean off the hand, which is why the injury was so profusely bad. And then they both Maxwell kind of froze up after the biting, and like Jeremy started screaming. But Jacinta, after Jordan lit up the plant, they both kind of latched on and like fucking manhandled the fuck out of him. And Anthony, by this point, had heard the commotion, came in and was like, "Oh, those two are gonna bully him if he does anything. I'll quickly go and find you guys." And it was a lot of him having to try and cast spells to find out where the fuck you were. And he's not that good at magic. So it's like, you know, it took a little while. I'm not as advanced as some of my fellow cohorts in this here building. You understand?
Are you still there?
Hmm.
How about you just go and meet with Amos in the nurse's office to ask Jeremy for his perspective on what happened.
Sure.
And then me and Reggie will have a nice chat with Maxwell.
We'll drag him down to the detention rooms.
The cameras don't work in the detention room.
They're dungeon, right? We established that last episode.
I think it is. It's like some dank fucking windowless dungeon
So I'm just dragging him by the ankles through the whole
on the steps.
canvas down to the thing. And I'm awaiting someone else to come down, keeping him under until someone else comes down.
After getting the recount from Jordan and Jacinta, sends them on their way. Gonna clock how much time we've got until the end of the lunch.
Minutes.
Minutes. Okay. Mad dash to the dungeon, but Ernest remains himself.
Just leave a note on the door saying might be late.
None of Reggie's students are shocked when he's late to class.
Yeah.
So.
You're fine.
Just... And he slaps this down, but on fucking Maxwell's forehead, it's a detention slip.
Ow.
It just... Sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. We need to have a nice long conversation about this later. If I hear about another incident, it'll be a weekend detention before the end of today.
He's so slow. He's like, oh, huh? And he was like, be quiet. Just put him back to sleep. You said you were keeping him under. That's what I assumed.
Yeah. So detention slip for him. Still got classes to maintain. Got 2 incident reports. Possibly a 3rd on the way. For how to manage this, especially if what's been said by the twins somehow backs Jeremy to be one of the reasons why. One of the 13 reasons.
Before Evalyn goes to the nurse's office, she is going to go back to her class, and surely she knows how to make a truth-telling potion.
It can be done, but with potions in this system, you have to roll for it, and it's always considered a snap decision, so you can't take half the value.
That's okay.
So it will be. What's your highest stat? Flight. What's your brains?
4.
You got the D4 for brains.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I'll put it to charm because you're trying to coax someone to telling the truth. So that would be charm in my opinion. So you're gonna roll your charm, add a D4 because it's magical components, and you're gonna want to beat a. What's your charm? What's your charm roll?
D12.
Yeah, so you're pretty high on charm because you got the aloof teacher trope. I'm gonna say.
Oh, yeah, nah.
Sorry.
Fucking.
Sorry, that's my thinking noise. Sorry. Let's go difficulty of. No, I'll set it. I think I kind of want to set it to max value and go 12 because this is like hard shit to do. It's not like, oh, it changes your hair color or something. It's like, no, I'm forcing you to speak the truth. So let's go for a 12.
Oh, that's insulting.
No, it's not because that's 12.
Really?
So 7 plus 1 plus 4.
Wow.
Oh, where I was sitting, it looked like a 1, and I was like,
No.
"Damn, you're like a shit, bro."
Well
Like,
done.
fuck,
Absolutely.
well done.
If
So-
it wasn't one, I would have shat my hands and clapped.
I know. I literally thought I was all like, I said, "Man, you're pretty calm for getting 2 1s."
Yeah, wow, that's the calmest I've ever seen you, and you just throw the fucking dice straight out the window. If anyone was in there watching, Evalyn powers in, opens up the fucking cut, like ransacks it open, like my mum when she's had a bad day, almost pulled the fucking doors off the hinges, and you grab like a mix, and you've got that like bartender
you just,
brain.
Like, grab, like,
Like through your fingers, and it's a lot of
shaking.
and you're like mixing, and you pull out like a fucking martini shaker at one point, and you're like, yeah, cop that little fucker, and you end up getting in there, and it makes the perfect little, and it's like this really soft lazuli, like lapis lazuli colored, and you have a truth potion.
Hell yeah.
Dun, dun.
Alright.
We're committing war crimes at this school.
And then I will storm to the nurse's office with that potion to drop a little droppy drop in his mouth.
Into Jeremy's mouth.
Yes,
Yeah,
into
okay.
Jeremy's.
We go to Nurse Dot's office, and he, by the point you get him there, he's fucking delusional. Like, you know, like the trauma, the shock, the adrenaline's wearing off, the blood loss definitely isn't fucking helping. You get him in there, and you kind of like slam the door open, and Nurse Dot's like, what's all this? Oh my dear lord. And you like pull, and she's just a shock, and you like what do? Do you give her the fingers? Like,
Yeah, I'll obviously give it the finger. I'm not going to keep them.
I don't know what your game plan is.
She'll like hand it over and be like, they're pretty fucked. I don't know if you can do anything with them. Plant bit off his hand.
Snap trap. Okay. We can work with this. And she darts off, and it is a lot of spell casting on her part to kind of help reset the wounds, and then a lot of it becomes alchemical treatment. Like, she's kind of versed in like potions and spellcraft here and fro, but a different line of work compared to everyone here. And there's a moment where she has to ask you to like kind of hold his fingers in place so she can, like, for lack of a better term, cast like a beam that kind of just gets the sinews together enough that she can then apply some sort of like balm to help reattach the fingers. And then the hand gets very tightly bandaged. He's got splints on it, so he can't move his fingers and stuff at all. Let's be real, she IVs him up. He's fully unconscious by this point. He's fucking traumatized. And after about, you would also be late back to your class, I think. It'd be like maybe 30, 35 minutes. And like, she's fucking sweating, she's pulling gloves off and all that sort of stuff, and she throws them to the bin. She goes, well, he's not going to be able to cast any spells for about a month, but he'll live. And he'll keep his fingers.
What about his fine motor skills? Shit.
Rehabilitation's tricky. I can't remember the voices I did for half of these teachers. I was rolling with it.
Fuck, poor kid.
If he keeps his head down and he gives it a go, he might be able to get a lot of it back, but it's hard. Magic only takes you so far.
You wanted to be an artist.
I'm sorry, dear.
Oh, I'm sorry it happened to him. Shit. I hate bullies.
It was a bully that did this?
One of the other students.
Fucking Jesus. See, I don't understand. They're just letting these fucking idiots run around and they're killing each other, for Christ's sake. Do you think that boy had the boy that did this, or the student that did this, do you think the student that did this has anything to do with Shane, or?
No.
Just going stir crazy, maybe.
It's a little fucking shit. And I hope that Ernest deals with that.
There's no way Dot knows. But Ernest is such a sweet man. Why he couldn't hurt a fly.
Kill him with kindness. Oh, late to my class.
Power is off. It in the back of your brain. Someone's talking about me. But you jump back, and I think before we end the school day, you know, like kind of powering through the classes, we'll quickly go down to you've done the detention slip in the dungeon. You obviously go back to your classes. None of the students are surprised. Would there be any interactions between it and Maxwell while he was in the dungeon?
No, Ernest remained himself
The entire time, right?
to deliver the detention slip because he likes to maintain the ruse that the teacher for detention and Ernest are two different people.
Yeah.
He fucking adores maintaining that.
So let's have a bit of an interaction when you go to take over detention for the end of the day, because detention happens literally right after class. They lose like 2 hours of like the 3 hours that they get fucking just sitting there, you know, doing nothing before dinner.
about Evelyn's truth potion?
Oh, Evelyn's Street Potion. Yes, you end up. That's right. You link up. Sorry, I forgot. As you're about to leave, so you dip, but you just like, I don't care. I'm doing this right now.
Yeah, I've probably like. I'd like to think that with Evelyn's classroom,
Oki's running the class.
You're going teaching, so like some fancy.
The graduation gap.
Yeah.
there would have been like, you know how you can do the quill thingy, how it writes on its own sort of
Yes,
thing.
yes,
The
absolutely.
whiteboard sort of
The
thing
chalk.
would do that, or the chalkboard. But all of the cabinets and stuff are all like enchanted, so unless it's her consent, no student can open them. They will get a really bad shock.
I literally was just thinking that. I was like, one of the kids goes to sneak in to like try and steal some like small explosive powder, and he just gets fucking stop. He just gets sent across the fucking classroom.
Yeah. But there will basically be like the chalkboard would be going, and Oki will be there basically observing and telling Eleanor if anything, Evalyn, if
Hell yeah.
anything like
Wrong campaign.
is going on. Yeah.
He's got a little pedestal, that he stands on that's on the desk that allows him to see over everybody.
Yeah.
And he's got the most dour expression. He's like,
This is where the military hat comes What hat is he wearing? We're making this a bit. I think
So, because he would be a teacher dog.
A graduation cap.
I was considering a
A flat
graduation
cap.
cap, or he'd have glasses on.
Hey.
With a little like business jacket sort of
oh, he's
thing.
got a blazer?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
blazer.
I
Yeah,
love that.
But
with
the
elbow
glasses
things.
are like those little nose ones that just sit on the end, like
Yeah.
little circular ones. So like they don't help his eyes at all. They're just there for his thing. And he's like, bah.
Basically just observing the class. He wouldn't really be teaching anything because they can't understand him. But on the
He's trying though, right?
yeah, on the
He's giving it
blackboard,
the reddest hot go.
it'll kind of be like just the simplest of lessons of basically just like a study group sort of thing, you know.
A rehash of stuff already.
Yeah, and unfortunately all of Evelyn's students know that if she's not there, you gotta study, and they fucking hate it. They're like, Evelyn, I swear to God, bitch.
Miss Blackwood, why?
Yeah, essentially. But when she's there, it's like all fun. But when she goes to the nurse's office and stuff, she has no time. She's there like, come on, wake up, wakey, eggs and bacon, you know, like get up.
And he like sees this poor kid, his eyes are gone.
Yeah.
Like he's so unconscious. And he goes,
Yeah.
oh.
Grab his cheeks, eyedropper of the potion.
Blah.
It'll benefit you, I swear it.
You drop it in and it's just a very quick. Okay.
Now,
Mm.
I need to fill out an incident report.
Uh-huh.
What happened?
Well, I got in early to just sit down at the desk. As a lot of them do. It's not a bad thing. They can get in there early and just chill out. And he recounts the tale where it kind of follows a very similar tail end to what we had with Ernest, where he says, I was sitting and Max came in and he seemed more aggro than usual, but he started giving me a bit of a nudge and asking me if I knew anything about Shane, which I don't. I don't hang out with him. Shane's a wanker. Sorry. Shane's a wanker.
Truth potion, can't just say that.
Yeah. And some of us in my friend group have been hassled by them before. So I told them I didn't know anything, because I didn't. And he called me a liar. I told him to shove off. And he picked me up and punched me a few times in the mouth. And then slammed me up against the cage. And that's when... And he kind of looks at like his like fully plastered hand, like... Well, yeah.
I have one more question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there could be anyone that knew anything about what happened to Shane?
What do you know? What do you think? I think he's a good kid. He's a sweet kid. No. Shane... Let's call it for what it was, miss. Shane was a fuckhead.
I love this version.
Shane was a fuckhead, and he, along with a lot of those other ones, just like to do their own thing. I think he just got his comeuppance. He didn't follow the rules, and now look at him. Missing, apparently. Sucks to suck, a loser.
So loser.
Oh, God.
Loser.
I'm going back to sleep now.
Yes, thank you for being honest. In that jar as well, I feel like there'd be enough in there for one more mouth to consume.
Mhm.
And Evalyn, before she goes back to her class, will go into Ernest and just, if the students turn around and look, she's like, basically like, yeah, look ahead now. Like, I'm gonna hit you. And then we'll just drop it on your desk. And then just...
Like any good drug dealer, he just swipes it and it's in his pocket.
Yeah. And then we'll go back
And these
to
people
her
are
class.
teaching our youth. How dare you all.
Nothing to do with it.
Absolutely. And now we'll go to detention before we end the school day, and you guys get to collaborate back again at the end of the day. How does that start?
I'd like to possibly put forward a rectification
A
between
retcon? Yep.
between the exact start time of detention and when classes end, because Ernest needs at least 15 minutes.
That's fine.
Sick. Ernest walks into his space, like his room,
Yep.
his dorm, his lodgings,
His quarters.
and then it walks out.
So the wooden door.
Abracadabra.
Yeah, so you guys are in the lunchroom or in the common room. Anyone who's like really paying attention sees, little Ernest who's a bit shaken up from the day walks in, and then the door opens. Shadow envelops the room, and then two long fucking hands pull out through the door. Very Howl's Moving Castle.
I would like to state very specifically, not Howl's Moving Castle, we're more no face in this
Hell
regard.
yeah.
However, whereas Ernest's style lies in cottagecore, it prefers well-pressed suits, ties.
I'm a distinguished gentleman.
Eddie, I'm a businessman now. I have a mortgage, Eddie.
He is clean, pristine. It's not like that time he ripped his pants off falling from his broom. Oh no, that was an emergency situation. No, he has clothes that fit him.
Chewing on like raw steak.
No, it takes a lot of self-control not to consume raw meat for Ernest specifically. But he's got a book in hand, purely for show.
There's nothing in the pages, it's blank.
It's just like specifically the fake book incinerator where every time he walks into detention, throws it in the incinerator, begins detention.
Essentially. It's a bookcase of discarded books. No one knows where they come from. But
It's self-help books.
The subtle art of not giving a fuck.
from
Skinwalking for dummies.
well dressed, gets down to detention, and I believe there are now 2 participants total.
Who have we got? We've got Maxwell, Crom, and Roderick.
And all he does in this mortifying form, dressed in a nice well-pressed suit, make sure they're both in attendance, sits at the desk at the front of the room, and just silently watches them. Detention is silent. Has started, but between the two of them, every about 5 seconds or so.
God, they would only hear the clicking of its bones between his neck joints as he looks between the two of them like a sentry.
Yeah.
They've been in detention before, let's be honest. They are shitheads, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where it's like the trauma of sitting in there is so hardcore that they've repressed it, so they forget what detention is like every time because it's so fucking traumatic, and like maybe it's like, I don't know, some sort of like detention kind of curse because like the school was aware of like your secondary heritage. It's like maybe there's charms around it, but it's, if anyone was to walk in, you would just hear the of the draft that flows through the bottom of like this dungeon room, and not a single fucking peep. Occasionally you might hear a
Silence. But it's in wild speak, so it's just a growl.
wow. It's like maybe the room magically subtitles the speak for them.
Oh my god.
No. Every time they make a sound, they shuffle a paper wrong. They fucking move their chair and it makes a sound. It's just a visceral fucking growl. But he's just saying, silence, enough, be quiet. And it's just dead staring at them the whole fucking
Two hands,
time.
like, reminds me of a job for a cowboy album cover. I'll show you and you'll be like, yeah, it's very much like that. Absolutely. For you, the 2 hours fly by because you're having the time of your life. For them, it feels like but an eternity, my lord.
Mm-hmm.
They have been staring down the eyes of death for 6 lifetimes, and eventually there's the little on your like that alerts you, and you're like, and it's done. How do you dismiss them from this fucking detention?
So he stands, but he waits by the door.
Oh god.
He waits right by the door, and for each one as they approach, he just kind of rests a hand on their shoulder. And it's almost like a translated conversation moment where it's just all like, sorry, I had the wording for this a second ago and then it just fucked off. Will you repeat your actions, essentially?
Are you going to reoffend?
Yeah. Do you intend to fucking do what you did again?
And you translate it for them so they can understand it?
So, specifically,
I feel
he's
like it
got
would be
handy.
like-
In the head.
Yeah.
He's got handy, which allows him to gain the benefits of using his wand without having to wield it.
Okay, cool.
So, essentially, it's just this is a translated message. Because, fucking how many of you cunts are going to take wild speaking languages? None of you cunts want
It's an elective!
wild speak. Y'all want Latin. Fucking weirdos.
Fair enough. It's a very cut and dry. No, sir. No, sir.
Mm-hmm. And it's Maxwell, wait. It's just like a you.
Oh,
You.
God. Roderick sprints out. He goes, so, am I good? And he like gets his bag, sprints the fuck out of there.
As he goes like, peace out.
Very
Mama.
ominous, standing over the top of Maxwell.
And it's again that message translation.
Mm-hmm.
He's not speaking, it's just a case of like, this needs to be communicated. But he's trying his best to not sound like Ernest when he communicates like this.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Like it's he's trying to mimic the Ernie voice.
Yeah.
But he can't do it. So it sounds kind of goofy when the message is relayed. Drink this.
That'd be good.
He hands it to him and says, drink it. It's that little potion, the single fucking potion.
I'm gonna put that's gonna be a charm roll. You're gonna have to try and slick it because at the end of the day, it's like you are the detention teacher. Yes, it is the detention teacher, but you can't really 4
Fucking
students.
pin him down!
See, like, Evalyn walked in and basically, like, grabbed this kid by the face. He can't argue. He's got one hand. But this kid, you're like, take this.
Can I argue the point of intimidation and roll it off of brawn instead?
Intimidation will technically still fall under charms. Is kind of what it's there for.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me for the way this system works.
Fucking dumb.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah, alright.
What's your charm roll? What's your
It's a
dice?
D6.
Go 3. Right down the middle.
It's a 3.
With the +1?
Yeah.
Sick. There you go. I think there's a moment where he takes the little vial of like that lapis lazuli liquid, and you kind of do have to coax him a little bit, being like, it's not going to fucking kill you. You're not going to immolate from the inside out. Just drink the fucking potion.
Yeah.
And eventually he just goes, like, it doesn't taste good. He's like, gross.
Suck it up, nerd.
You say nerd.
Wait. I didn't mean to send you that. Delete!
It's wild.
Delete!
It's wild speak until the word nerd. Like, nerd. There's no translation for it in wild speak.
Now I need you to confirm. When you threw Jeremy up against the cage, that was accidental? Or did you intend for his hand to be bitten off?
Throwing him against the cage was intentional. The plant was accidental.
And you did punch him in the face several times.
Yes. And he's talking, he's like, fuck? Like, he didn't realize it. He's like, fuck! Like, he's been, Evalyn! Damn you, Mrs. Blackwood!
And she's just like, yeah.
Fucking lie to me.
What makes you think that Jeremy knows where Shane is?
Because we give him shit all the time. You know, they always explode and they cast spells at us if they get too lousy. It has to be one. If something's happened to Shane, it has to be one of them.
That sounds like a really bullshit and immature way to approach this problem. Respectfully.
Respectfully. The bottomless pit eyes.
No, but honestly, he says that to him outright.
Yeah.
It is not your job to seek justice or where Shane is. For all you know, this could be a private family matter for why Shane has suddenly left. And you are beating up your fellow classmates for this?
Yeah. And he's like, fuck. Because like they go to say something else and their body just goes, nope, and returns this way. So it's just like every time he speaks, you can just watch like one more beat of sweat. He's like, fuck.
Now, respectfully, you see where you fucked up in that math.
Yes.
Do you think anyone else knows where Shane is other than just Jeremy?
Surely one of them does.
List.
I don't have a list of names, but I can get you one.
Fundamental
Yeah.
imaginary names.
I can
He's
get...
provided.
Oh, actually, no, I lied. I have a list of the victims here. So because we did iterate that group of kids kind of hang around each other, the bullies versus like I will send it to you so you've got it.
Yeah.
But it's Paige, Ash, Leslie, Oscar, and we're gonna write probably not as much, but Thomas would be in there too.
From the top, repeat. Paige.
Paige,
Yep.
Ash, Leslie, and Oscar. And Thomas.
On my tank engine.
Thomas the Dank Engine. When the Claymore you set
That's
up.
the sound Eleanor
Yeah.
makes when she busts into the room because someone's bullying Thomas.
That's when the Claymore you set up at the front door turns to ATF agents sneeze into spaghetti.
Do you have any proof it was any of these children?
No. Very resigned.
If I catch you doing it again, you will lose out on Saturdays. I will take them from you, regardless of rugby practice. I don't care. But he says that last bit as an angry growl.
His sweating is profuse. I think it's very quickly. It's not even the questioning because like when you're in your like full hybridization form, you can be very articulate with your words, but the problem is you still emanate an aura.
Yeah.
And I think you realize towards the end, it's like, oh, I'm overpowering the conversation on this kid because he can't even lie to me now to get out of it. So you realize very quickly that he's shrinking in on himself. And I'll give you on a bit of a narrow standpoint, you're probably at the end of being able to exhaust more info from him before he just stops responding.
One final question. Who do you intend to invite to the dance at the end of the year?
Oh, make it Chelsea.
Chelsea? Yeah, sure, Chelsea. Chelsea Berry Clough.
Clough.
Thanks, I was like, name.
It's okay. I know that was a weird curveball,
I
but
reckon
there's
the
good
boy
reason.
has a weak spot for powerful women.
I like being stepped on.
But only by women, nerd.
I don't think I need to tell you why I'm taking this information as collateral. But off you go. Dinner's waiting.
Goes, picks his bag up, and slowly begins to walk out of the room. We'll kind of skip through dinner. I would think is probably very quick. Not quick in the sense it's like, oh, you quickly shovel your food and you all leave, but it's very quiet. Not a lot of chatter. I would think everyone's pretty shocked. Unless anyone had anything they wanted to interject over dinner, you can feel free to add that now. But after dinner, you guys go back to the common room anyway, so you can do it there. So unless anyone has anything they want to throw in for dinner time, we can go back to the common room. Where I had a little thing about it. So dinner is extremely quiet and tense, and that same thing happens at the first episode of our campaign, where all the lights dim in the room again, and instantly everyone's like, "Here she comes!" Except this time, it's not fireworks and butterflies, but a thunderous crack of lightning from the ceiling. It like hits the stage, and it fully blasts a black fucking ring on the stage. It wasn't illusory. That was a real crack of lightning. And she doesn't even give anyone a chance to stop speaking as she puts a finger to her throat. Instantly her voice starts booming out. It was brought to my attention that a physical altercation erupted during lunch hours today. And she like scans over. Instantly you see all the students are like sink into their fucking chairs. I was also made aware that another student is currently in a stable yet debilitating condition due to the rough housing and antagonizing of another fellow student. And because of this one student's urge to cause mischief and harm another student, a property of the school and our dear botany teacher is destroyed, and a young adult's ability to hold a pencil is drastically damaged. And then there's just stark, quite the air is so fucking tense. We shall be keeping an eye on all of you. And all the students like start like kind of whispering to themselves, and like you watch as like on her cloak, because she's got that illusory cloak that kind of simulates night sky, like static bits of electricity begin to crawl over her skin as she explodes in an eruptive shard and turns into a cloud. Shard, and she floats out in like a thundercloud, taking out that same kid as before.
Except it's all static.
Yeah. This poor kid's just getting bullied.
His bread is now toast.
It's ash.
Is that? Oh,
Oh, it's butter.
It's perfect. Thank you, miss. And she dissipates in a cloud of smoke and heads out. if anyone wants to add anything to the end of that before we go to the common room.
When she's in a good mood, she hurts the kid. When she's in a bad mood, she brings him toast.
You start to get the feeling that she's pretty good at magic, but maybe she doesn't have as much control when she turns into an amorphous thing.
Doesn't even realise it though.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't even real like you remember when the butterfly got stuck on that kid's face? It was distant by like 30 seconds. So he's like, bring it down. It's like, and then it flies away.
No one's got the guts to tell him.
Yeah, no one's got the guts to tell me like, hey man.
You're
All I
great
could
at
think
that.
about at the end of the detention was who was old mate, the other one that was in there.
Roderick.
All I could think of was Roderick being asked are you gonna do it again? Him going no and running off, and then it goes black white, where it Fizz yes, I'm hopeful, and underneath it goes he didn't. He'd do it again the very next day.
It's got the same energy as that Bill Hader one where it's like, no, I'm not stoked, I'm bummed. And it cuts to him in the confession book, but I wasn't bummed. I was stoked.
Yes!
It's very much that.
Yes!
But dinner wraps up and all your dishes and plates are collected and we head back to the teacher's common room. What's happening as you guys all reconvene? Who's doing what? I'm going to turn it over to you guys to basically wrap up this school day. I'm just going to sit here and chill out.
That's what Jeremy said. Pretty much exactly the same as what the twins said.
Sick. So here's what Maxwell blurted out. Thank you. It was really helpful, by the way. And it's just the static brain exchange.
Over.
Yeah. No, Maxwell didn't have a real lead on Jeremy. He was just... All kids like him turn into school shooters.
Probably not something I should have said on stream, but here we are.
As one of those kids myself, I became a teacher. Clearly not true. So, other people he listed off as part of that clique, please don't get offended with me. I'm just repeating words that he said. Paige, Ash, Leslie, Oscar, and Thomas.
My boy!
These are possible people who are going to become targets in the near future, so we keep an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm aware, Maxwell has no real leads on who... what happened to Shane at all. If he steps out of line, he intends to ask Chelsea to the end of your dance. We use that against him. Or send him to detention again and I'll find out more.
I can talk to Chelsea.
Beautiful.
You two are fucking diabolical.
Yes.
There's a voice in the back of Ernest's head. Oh, you take all the credit, but I did all the work.
Shut the fuck up. You don't have a single thought between those soulless eyes.
You say little Ash was on that list?
Yep.
He asked about what was going on today.
Right.
Seemed more concerned than anything, but...
Which is fair enough. And look. We don't really have any real answers. Do we know what Shane was gunning for? Was he at least decent at anything that could have resulted in some kind of jealousy stunt?
He was a little fucking bully.
2 questions.
Yes,
Was Shane in my classes?
No, I don't think Shane would have taken animal
Does
classes.
Ash have a particular aptitude with animals? For
Ash,
a younger kid?
Ash idolizes how you do it. He loves magical creatures. Don't get mad at me. Ash is the dinosaur kid.
Yeah, he is.
Ash is the dinosaur kid. So it's very
Full circle.
Me too, Ash.
Me too.
Okay.
I didn't even draw the connection.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh wow.
Neither, that
Yeah,
just-
I was on dial-up, brother. Yeah.
I am the
I
Internet
need to stop sitting
Explorer.
next to you. You're rubbing off on me with like not catching on stuff.
Wow. Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Pokemon, those animals.
I'm leaving 5G and I'm going to Sebastian's fucking dial-up internet, the geriatric fuck.
Hell yeah. Oh, my tummy hurts.
How did the meme queen not catch that one?
Yeah, I'll put it live on record here. I was not a Pokemon kid. I'm sorry.
Were you a Digimon kid?
I want to speak to my lawyer.
Fair enough. Fair.
She was never a kid.
I came out 40 years old, my name was Craig, and the first thing I did as soon as the umbilical cord was cut, I mowed the fucking lawn.
Wow. Oh, holy dooly. That's short for sure. But yes.
Sailor Moon.
Hell yeah, Sailor was awesome.
Don't you dare throw me on the bus.
Too late.
Card
Listen,
captors, man.
As an almost
I was
24-year-old,
card captor as
yes, I am currently watching Pokemon on Netflix right now.
This is a solid tangent we've gone on.
Anyway,
Yes.
kids are dying.
Who knows? It could have been me or Evalyn that said it. Evalyn, you started the new season without me.
But yes, he's just a bully.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a particular aptitude for anything. He's just a bigger kid that just, got off on being a bully.
His only motivation is the fact that his boy toy has been taken from him.
Shane, being the bully, was a bully, past tense. Maxwell now stepping up to try and bully information about what happened to Shane out of other children. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, in his own weird way.
Just so I've got all my fucking words in a line because I'm starting to stack them in weird ways. It's brain word Jenga.
Jenga.
Anyone notice how mad the headmistress was when a nerd got hurt? But she didn't seem to give a shit when a bully got hurt?
I think we should just go and talk to her. She's a pretty reasonable woman.
Is she?
She lets me work here. She lets you work here.
I'd consider that unreasonable.
Yeah, I mean, what's he gonna do? Smoke the kids out? Worst case, they get the munchies?
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Then I might actually eat them one day. So,
He has a point, though. She was very quick to announce fingers being cut off. But she hasn't said jack shit about Shane, which is...
There's an obvious jump from classroom incident to death by a giant snake, but her demeanour.
Yeah.
She was pretty worked up about that.
She was literally butterflies with death.
Yeah, Tony in the background. She came in with like a fucking crack of lightning.
It's a very far cry from the original announcement. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
It's a bit suspicious.
Reggie's there, goes into a deep thought. Pulls out a little baggie with some gummy bears.
are you getting those from another dealer?
Hey, come. Tony walks in and just sticks his hand in your pocket, grabs them out, and he's like, "Yeah, they ain't one of yours, pal. You're a two-timing bitch." And he throws them back. Ha ha.
You don't
Cut
do
off.
the edibles.
Cut off. I could have. You cut off.
It's very easy to turn weed
Charm
into
spell.
gelatin.
No, I'm not even joking. Memory charm spell.
Yes, baby!
Wait, there's a thing for this. There's attacking and defending. Where is it?
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
So it's going to be, it'll be your charm, because you're trying to use a charm spell. It'll be your charm versus, you can either try to counter it, which in that case would be fight, or flight. You can just dodge out of the way. Like, you can kind of just be like, no, and then get out of the way.
You alright? Do I have to tell him which one I'm doing beforehand?
No, we can be spicy about it.
And correction.
I'll roll.
He
You
gets
can
to
see if you
use
can-
his magic dice.
Yes.
I do not.
If you're counter charming it, yes. If you're just
Right.
dodging, or if you use magic. So if you use a spell to teleport yourself around him, you can add your magic die.
21 is what you got to beat.
Damn! He won that kush, brother! He won it, baby!
Well, that means you won't, mate. Here we go.
Drum roll.
Oh my god! Oh!
He's getting on business!
So that's a 36.
Damn! What was
Flight. No magic.
that? You just dodged
I
out of
just
the way.
sidestepped that shit.
Wow! Holy! I think in an instance, all of you hear like the cracking of stone as you like some of like your skinwalker ability comes through, and you just go and sidestep, and the charm just goes. It hits the kettle, bounces off the kettle, and Tony's like, "Whoa!"
And he's being,
I'm going to bed.
oh, I promise I'll be a new dealer. I don't know what I'll sell you, but I'll do it.
And now, as far as Amos is concerned, she's been selling drugs as long as she's been a teacher.
You alright?
I can get used to this.
Disappointed in you.
Like, has that look of like a 3-year-old
Sorry.
that's got in trouble? Like, really?
I can't believe you got 21 and you got 30.
36.
36.
Insane,
That was
though.
pretty fun.
Those were wild rolls.
This
Holy
is why
fuck.
playing teachers is fun.
I was thinking about ones, thanks.
I feel you, girl.
Wow. But Tony does interject a little bit, and he goes, "Look, my main concern is, right, with all this, vigilante justice and all that kind of shit.
Justice!
Fuck off! With all this vigilante justice, where does the line get drawn in the sand? When does eventually it just starts turning into full-fledged violence? Like kids punching each other. That's normal. It happens. Especially boys, they're shitheads. But it only takes one kid, as he said, to go full postal service and lose their fucking mind. I don't want it to happen, be real.
Surely we have charms in the school to prevent certain levels of...
In a school where there's a lot of spell casting, how can you limit every exact one? A lot of it is, we trust you to do the right thing.
The fuck do we trust these kids for?
They come here to learn, my friend.
I think we shouldn't rush to any conclusions at this point because we're kind of just going around in a circle, albeit whilst we're going in that circle, we're picking up new information. Still sort of stuck in the same circle, though. Again, first one still could have been an accident. We don't know yet. We just have to hope it doesn't happen again, I suppose.
So we won't go to the headmistress. So then why don't we just go to the authorities ourselves?
Maybe we should keep it contained. I don't mind the idea of building up some evidence first.
Then how does that make us any better than the headmistress who's not telling anyone?
Well, do you want to point the finger at the headmistress? It ends up not being her and then we all lose our fucking jobs?
I'm not saying point the finger at her. What I'm saying is tell her this is the creature that strangled the kid. We found it, we killed it.
I can understand putting pressure on her to kind of cave, you know what I mean? But the problem is when you start
I'm
bringing...
not even suggesting putting pressure on her. I'm
Well,
just saying we did the job she asked us to do.
That's true. Let's rephrase it like this. say, in her best interest, she does go to the authorities. A whole battalion of magical cops are gonna come knocking on the fucking door, closing off the entire school. All the kids get sent home. Then we gotta deal with all the parents. You're definitely gonna get in shit. You are absolutely going to jail. You two, not so much. But
I don't like cops.
I don't like him either. Uncle, hated him. Dad, hated him. Brothers, hated him. Brothers serving time. That's a story for a different time. Anyway.
Are you saying we should just take the snake to her?
I'm just trying to figure out where to go next.
Look, why don't we sleep on it? And we'll come back with a fresh mind about it tomorrow.
Fresh game plan. It's been a long day. That's what I think anyway.
I can hear your cogs turning from here.
No. I think.
Just a flask in here like...
I need a drink for this one. Evidence that we have is a snake that was turned big. Not eating a child, just suffocating it and killing it. Him. Shane.
It.
It has name. Nothing was found in its stomach. It was just a snake. That's what we have. On top of that, we have... And she has, like, papers and whatever, like
inkwells?
Yeah. And then we have the head mistress entrusting us to deal with it, find evidence, see the snake, defeat it, what have you, possibly could have died in process of doing so. Has not said nothing to the children nor authorities, but gets mad over another child's hand being severed or fingers. And then we also have the case of if we go to her about it, I have this feeling, this gut feeling, if we do, she's going to just pick up a rug and dust it under there and put it back where it was. Like nothing ever happened. We defeated the thing, and that's that. I personally would like to get to the bottom of this before it's all just dusted away.
Seems to be growing more and more difficult as time passes.
Reggie lights up.
Thank you. Tip your waitress. I'm here all week.
We haven't even looked into why Shane was out there.
We can't exactly ask a dead kid.
We can ask his shitty mates.
He didn't buy from me that night. So that rules out one thing.
There we go.
And you want to call the cops here?
Me dealing a little bit of fucking pot out of the corner of my classroom, surely
It's fully...
I'll get in trouble, but there's a dead kid.
It's fully in the background. We're like, oh, she's got a point.
Like reality is just like sinking in. Fable's like,
Shane was just making a giant snake to fuck with the school and it backfired.
oh, you mean like death by stupidity?
Yeah, he made a big snake and then he went out to check on it and
What if we just ask Shane?
Shane's dead.
What if we just ask Shane?
Quietly in the background. like Reggie's already been disregarded from the conversation. He's like, Shane's dead. Like, no one's listening.
Wow.
They're all like, yeah, let's talk to Shane. Like,
How am I the only one that remembers it?
I would think that you say it was like, why don't we talk to him? And you're like, Shane's dead.
No,
right.
other way
Other way around, sorry. Yeah, why don't we talk to Shane? You're like, Shane's dead. Why don't we talk to Shane? I think even Anthony would, like, Tony would stop and be like, oh, no, you can't do that. No, you can't. Like, you can't. There's a limit on things that are allowed to do if you try to force a spirit. If you look, I knew a guy who knew a guy. Shady business. But the person that owed them a lot of money took a really long fall to the top of a building. Well, they needed to find out where the money was stored. So, what do? They drag his limp ass back in the building, and they fucking crammed his spirit back in there. That cocksucker went insane. They can't handle being back in their dead body. It drives them mental. So you've got to, it's a whole different fucking ball game of trying to figure shit out.
But what if we just talk to him? Not wedge him back in his body.
Like a seance?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Seacrest or whatever the fuck it was.
Shut up, you.
Tarot cards. Just candles. Let's do this.
Fucking hell, she's prepared.
Tarot card's gonna do
She
with
gives
it.
me the heebie-jeebies. I'm going to bed.
Good night. Fucking traitor.
Look, I took it from one of the kids. I'm not buying shit from
Bullshit.
anyone else.
Bullshit!
Pulls out like a big pile of shit. He's like, this was from fucking old mate. This, like, he's got a stash of all these different things. He's like,
Then flush it and come back to me and I'll make you whatever you want.
really disrespectful shit.
Fuck off to bed. Like a fucking father sending his kid.
He scoots on his side. I still love you, man.
You're fucking dying of fire.
I hate it when mum and dad fight.
I hate it when the dads are fighting again.
So just walks off Mum. So he's like, we'll come back to me when he needs a little bit more cash. I know I'm supplying half of his retirement.
I hate it because he's right. Oh my god.
Reggie! I don't want to close my eyes. I was just like with a portrait of Reggie in bed. I don't want to fall asleep because I'll miss you, Reggie.
Everyone take an adversity token. As a punishment and a reward.
Oh god.
But the night is drawing close to an end, so unless there's anything anyone immediately would want to do, you'd probably all have to go to sleep at some point. You know, you can't stay up all night. Well, Evalyn can, but no one else can.
Good thing she has a day off from the bar tonight.
So you're gonna do the seance by yourself?
Well, it's Friday. It's Friday, so it's a Saturday tomorrow.
So why the fuck are we going to bed early?
Because you've fucking been awake since the last crack of dawn. I don't know, do whatever you
We
want.
have magic!
Do whatever you want.
What the fuck does
Do whatever you
matter?
want. I thought maybe in this high fantasy game, you maybe want to roleplay some like semi-functioning adults.
Why would you think that about us?
Oh,
Now I see where Ozzy gets the voice from.
Yeah.
my
Mother.
central functional
Yeah.
adult I play is fucking Voyage. And he's
That's
a kid.
I do love him.
I mean, spooky seance sleepover in
Yeah.
Evelyn's room.
Yeah.
Amos doesn't say that though. Skye says that though. Skye's all for the seance. Amos on the fence.
I would like to get my magic book out from under my bed. It's like this big fucking
Big tome.
Grimoire.
A grimoire, yeah, that's
big
the good word.
Grandma.
I don't know about this. It seems very morally ambiguous.
The leather on this book is real peculiar.
Who invited him?
No, I'm God.
It's just Tony.
Yeah, so Tony talks like this. That's just me.
Oh, no. You're part of this now, Tony.
It's the narrator.
Is Tony getting dragged in?
You
Yes,
know too
Tony.
much, Tony. You know too fucking much.
I'll put a spell
Go on,
on
Jit.
you.
Squeeze. Squeeze.
Bang, yeah.
Squeeze, Jit.
I'd love to see those two box on.
Oh God. He'll just come in with a cup of coffee. And he kind of just sits against the door frame, being like, "So, are we playing Annie up, or what are we doing?"
This is how we talk to Shane without violating his spirit or corpse. Take it away, Evalyn. Treating it like a class.
Okay, so this would have to be. You get to pick. It'd be charm or brains, but the DC is going to be fucking stupid high.
I'd also like to assist.
I'm going with charm
So
for
each-
this one.
Each adversity token you spend to try and build up to make up any difference, if you need to, gives you 2 for every singular one you spend instead of 1.
Alright. And I also get on top of that, let's see. So, oh no, that's a different one that I get 2 instead of the 1, but that's okay. Anyway,
So
I'm
what you're saying
going-
is you get 3 total per singular one spent.
Yeah.
Sick.
Tap it up for this.
okay,
And what do you roll for?
charm.
Yeah, what do you roll for?
D12.
D12. Okay. I'm gonna say. Whoa. One D12. Just thinking. I'm gonna say the minimum you want to hit is 18.
18.
Minimum.
Okay.
So, Anthony stands behind Ernest. He's like,
Again. So that's. So I've got 12 again
Mhm.
with that, and then I'm going to spend an adversity token.
you can spend as many as you have.
So that adds.
So spending 1 adversity token will add 3 to
Yeah.
the total. So to get it to
Fuck.
18, you need 2 adversity tokens.
Oh.
And you're fucking rich. So
Yeah. I'm a rich bitch.
give us the information, ho.
Okay. So, the, Oh, bit of magic sound. There we go. You go to communicate and you pull all the light in the room gets like pulled out of the candles, and at this point the only light you guys are getting is from the red glowing book. And I'm gonna say all of a sudden you guys start realizing like some like glyphs and stuff start glowing out of the pages of the book, and they're very not good magic. Not good magic. It's very dark magic. And like stuff around the room like bits of paper in the cards, and Tony's like, holy shit, and he's like holding on the back of Ernest. Like,
Ernest is unmoving.
yeah, he's unflinching, a piece of paper like just hits across your face. Would Reggie be in there with him, or would
No,
Reggie
he
go to
went
bed? Yeah, so you're in your
He
room.
stormed off.
You're stormed off in your room, you can just hear them.
Oh, he's not in his room. I'll come to that.
Oh, there you go. Okay. And eventually, the red light cracks and will turn into like this blue glow as like the top half of Shane appears as you guys get ready to ask your questions. I don't want to go into anything next until Skye comes back, but feel free to ask a question and we can start that.
Next episode.
No, because I've got ending bits that I have to read for each one. So, like that. So ask your first question. I would say you've definitely got limited time. You can only hold them there for so long, but it's kind of like I'm trying to think of like a movie where there's like a cool ghost sequence in it. Probably like Dark Shadows, where like the kid's mum is always like that blue spectral ghost, kind of like that. But he's kind of floating there. You've got your hands up, and it's like like all this magic's flowing out.
Ask
When-
away, Ernie.
Fuck, I'm asking the question.
Only ask him now.
Did you make the snake that killed you?
No. Yeah, no.
Do you know who did it?
No.
Why were you outside by yourself at night?
Meeting up with a girl. Who's the answer you get? I'm gonna have to make up another name. I'll think of something.
No, it's also Chelsea.
Oh my god. Sure. Look, we'll put that up to a vote at some point on
It's
the break.
Chelsea.
Oh, it's Chelsea. Okay.
I'm decided.
Yeah, it's Chelsea. I've already written it
I
down.
was expecting you to say it.
the mama. This is spicy.
Oh my god.
We summoned Shane, and Ernest asked him a few questions.
Yeah, but
Basically, why he was out there, if he made the snake on his own, and if he knew who did. 2 no's, and he's meeting a girl, and that girl is Chelsea.
You've probably got, I'll say you've got maybe like 2 more. So make them count.
It's like the Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, kind of, yeah, actually, yeah.
But instead of like the body, it's just the ghost.
was there anything other than the snake?
Was there anything? Oh, so you were there? Amos was coming in?
Yes.
Yes. He responds with, not that I could see. What have we got, gang? Anyone, anything else?
Did you see anyone before you saw the snake?
He states that he only saw groundskeeper Michelson, and he had to, because he had to get past him without him noticing. Again, further lending to the theory that there's more than one groundskeeper Michelson. I was like, man, this guy's just fucking everywhere.
He has several siblings.
It's very much the Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny Pokemon thing, where they're all cousins or all sisters, and someone's dad has some explaining to do.
Or he's just a Pokemon. We won't get into that theory today.
That's just a theory.
Oh,
A game theory.
I know.
I think that's all the questions.
I'm gonna say you guys are very powerful spellcasters in your own right. If you want to try and force him to ask him one more question, you can, but it'll be another brains roll. Again, same DC. You're probably going to be sitting at about maybe. Oh, actually, this won't be harder because you're trying to force him to stay here. I'd say you probably want maybe a 19 or a 20. I would think.
This feels like a fucking dead end. It's starting to really sound like it was just a kid who got strangled by a fucking snake.
Does anyone have any more questions, or can I put him to rest?
I've got nothing at this point in time.
Okay. Good night, Shane. And then
Very unceremonious. He just fucking dissipates. All the candles turn back on.
Yeah.
You look around. That was fun. And there's just Anthony in the corner with his cup of coffee, like. Cup's empty. Doesn't say anything. Opens the door and just leaves. He's like.
Big tough guy.
Don't make fun of my mafios. How dare you? But it seems you've kind of hit a brick wall, but also at the same time, the answers that you're not getting means you're leaning closer towards answers that you could get for other things. Is there anything else that our teachers want to do before we wrap up the evening and you guys go to bed and we'll
Reggie didn't go to his room.
Where'd
He
you go?
went, grabbed some booze and some smoke, and went down to
Some
the
hashish.
Blood Bowl pitch. And he's sort of sitting up on top of like some bleachers area where you can get a good view of most of the area around and stuff. And he's sort of half watching the astropods, slapping around,
There's-
chewing things.
They're so slow. Like no one.
Friday night towards the end of school, he's also keeping an eye out for students that are out and about around the around the pitch, maybe sneaking out, having some drinks there. Like if anything suspicious is going on with students around the place.
I'll send you something in private on break because I feel like if you're just sitting there, they're not really gonna notice. So I'll send you something during the break before we finish.
Yeah, he sort of just hangs out there till late in the night until something either catches his interest or he passes out in the bleachers.
He wakes up underneath because he fell through the back. It's like, oh! You sit there drinking and smoking your hashish on the bleachers, breaking so many laws, especially around children.
Gotta make this bag last until I get back in Ernest's good books.
It's nothing but crumbs. Batman, I'm washing out my grinder, Batman. No, Joker, that's the Keef.
Got a little pawny Batman.
Yeah, a Batman. I got Air Force Ones, Batman. I crushed the toes, Batman.
Joker!
You're crushing them. Anyway, you guys.
There's no law against Pokemon, Batman.
Oh, that thing. No, I know that reference.
I caught a little punny, Batman. Anyway. Everyone finds rest, trying to push on to figure out, was this really just a freak accident? Like, did something really just abstractly lunge out from the darkness and kill this student? And are you guys just left to deal with the repercussions? Some further connections regarding to why the headmistress.
I catch Chelsea meeting another dude.
And wondering why the headmistress.
Warn the dude of her big snake.
Why the headmistress has kept it so secret. Everyone goes to sleep and rests for the evening. The ground floors of Lady Intonatia's are normally pretty abandoned at the dead of night. A lot of the quarters are upstairs. All that fun stuff. The teachers and students, fast asleep, awaiting the rising sun of the next morning. And then on the bottom floor, deep in the confines of the halls, Maxwell Crom sprints. His breath... I don't know who did it, I heard it. Maxwell Crom sprints, his breath steady. He has a look of both fear and desperation in his eyes as he sprints deeper into the wings of the school. As he goes to turn a corner, something stops him. The fear in his eyes is visible, even this dark into the night, and he spins on his heels and he runs the other way. His eyes are darting across every square inch in front of him as he sprints through the hall, but his heart stops and his stomach drops as he gets to the end of the hallway, only to find a mirror and his own sweaty face, pleading eyes staring back at him. He's like, no. What fuck? As he frantically moves around looking for a continuation of the path, not wanting to go backwards. But something slinks up behind him, and he stops frantically sliding his hands around the mirror frame and he lunges quickly to pull his wand. As he sent backwards, passing through glass, landing hard on a stone surface, his head smashing the floor on impact, dazing his fucking eyes. And his eyes goes dark as he hears heavy breathing coming up on him. As he comes back to consciousness, he begins to feel a warm sensation around his waist, but the cold air and the halls of his right arm. Right, that's your right arm. Maxwell awakens in pitch black, and he pulls out his wand and attempts to ignite a light charm. It sputters at first, like trying to cold start a car in the winter, or like a lighter that's almost empty, and he begins to get frantic, knowing that's because he's panicking and not concentrating on the swift movement of his one free wrist. Finally, the wand tip alights, and he is met with a sight that he didn't think he'd ever see, even in a book, let alone in real life in front of him. Maxwell is watching as his lower abdomen is slowly being melted away and digested, and his one free arm hangs out the top of this weirdly fleshy sack that he finds himself in. He kicks and screams and pulls as hard as he can, hearing tearing below him, but not daring to look as he is positive that he knows what the sound is. He feels 10 pounds lighter as he crawls up and forces open the seam in this weird sack pit that he finds himself in. But before his eyes can settle on anything of value, the internal latching and grabbers of this thing latch into his body and sink into his skin as he screams, fade silently into the night as he slips back into the darkness. And that's where we'll end this episode, and we'll see you all guys in the next one.
Damn!
See you in the next one. Bye-bye now.
Bye!
Intonatia's mystery will continue next week.